Welcome to the Smark Foundation Podcast. I'm Eric. This is Adam.
Oh, hi, Marks.
And we are, all right, you know what? I'm not even going to do the regular intro. Things are changing, guys. Let me just put that out right now up front. Just for myself, I'll let Adam weigh in here in a moment. But just for myself, we're going to make some changes here at the podcast. And it is in the effect of we're going to cease covering WWE. Now, this eventuality was probably coming soon anyway. I'm reading the writing on the wall from just shows this week. Some things have happened in this week and the last week that I'm like, oh no, that's actually going to lead to one of my triggers that I eventually have to pull to say I'm not watching this anymore. I don't dislike the wrestlers in WWE for the most part. There's a couple. But with the people that they've been, I don't know, the people that they've been bringing out, the celebrities, if you want to call them that, with Logan Paul, with their constant bad PR that I can't defend, with all the Vince stuff, all the connections to that are still in the company. Just a real laundry list of information, a real laundry list of reasons why I just can't be bothered to cover them anymore. And it's not all bad stuff about the company either. On the less negative side, I'm going into another semester of college, and I'm working on some doctorate coursework, and my caseload for this, or my course load for this semester, has doubled from my last semester. I have a lot less time now. But even then, I was already having a hard time getting SmackDown in before we record. Even though I have like 2 or 3 days in between, I'm just having a real hard time making time for that. I have kids, I have a job and responsibilities just like Adam does. And, there's a lot going on. But also my wife and I, when we do enjoy wrestling together, because we both are wrestling fans, she prefers to watch AEW. I watch it with her. I've said this whole time that I watch AEW and WWE both. I comment frequently on Adam's reviews of the AEW shows because there are things that I myself enjoy or don't like. I think that the vast majority of our audience is mostly AEW fans and doesn't watch WWE anyway. For those of you who do watch WWE, most of you actually, the few of you I know listen, still watch AEW also, so I don't feel like I'm leaving you out too much. And for those of you who only watch WWE, I'm really sorry. I don't want you to stop listening. I would encourage you to check out AEW just because wrestling is good and there's more wrestling and you should check it out. And I promise it's not like TNA. I'm not trying to sell you that snake oil. Okay, homie, it's way better than TNA. For those of you who are wondering, who haven't dipped your toe yet. It is not WWE Light. It is a whole different animal. It is not WCW. It is not ECW. It is not any of the stuff we have seen before. It's a completely different company and a good one. So that's my case for the people that only watch WWE who listen to our podcast. I am sorry if this alienates you. I apologize profusely to you. But I also apologize to the wrestlers on WWE, too many at this time to list, who I am extremely fond of. People who, like, while I was trying to watch SmackDown today, which I didn't have time to get all the way through it, but while I was trying to watch it today, just like watching like Pretty Deadly, and tag teams like that, people like Penta and Rey Fenix. I'm a big fan of this like John Cena and Randy Orton angle that's going on. Like there's things that I like. There really are. Tiffany Stratton is amazing. A lot of the women all of them. Almost, I don't like Nia, but everybody else is spot on. I wish we had like a glow that was WWE and AEW size, just to take all the women from both of these organizations and make a show that's only them. Because both of those divisions are what's holding up their respective companies, to be perfectly honest. Like, Timeless Toni Storm is the best thing in wrestling.
She absolutely is.
The 100%. WWE Women's Division is the best thing on their shows. So we're in a time that's very interesting. However, there's a lot of time involved. And we initially wanted to do this show and stay positive. But because of certain things that WWE is doing, storyline wise, backstage wise, in the dirt sheets, etc., every time they get in front of a fucking interviewer, because of things that they are doing, I just can't, man. I can't be bothered to defend them constantly. And I feel like lately I've had to every week. I also want to be more positive. That's kind of our point. That's what we do here. And I find it harder and harder every day to be positive, because it's not positive when we have to talk about that stuff and I have to somehow either defend it or profusely remind everyone that I'm not defending that shit. And in a lot of cases, it's the latter more than the former, where it's like, man, this is so abhorrent that I am not going to defend this. I'm not. It's terrible. It's a bad decision. I agree with everybody else. So that said, our episodes are going to get a little shorter. We are going to work out.
I'm sure all of you are going to appreciate.
Yeah, some of you are probably going to appreciate that. But we might add some different, we might come up with some different segments we can add here and there. But the core of our show right now is going to be AEW Dynamite, Collision, and pay-per-views. And we're still going to do watch-alongs for pay-per-views. Unfortunately, WrestleMania is our last WWE watch-along. We'll still do the AEW ones, of course. We still hope to bring you guys all the same, positivity and happiness and laughs and everything else that we brought you. We're still going to do memorials to wrestlers like we did with Mongo. It doesn't matter what company they work for, because if you're that influential, you deserve it. We're not going to completely ignore them either. If I hear of a match that I have to watch, I'm going to go watch it. Until John Cena's retired, I'm definitely watching every pay-per-view. It's just going to happen. You want to catch that stuff? If you really want to hear me talk about that, you can catch my tweets. I'm going to say tweets because I will never call it that other word that means something that you apparently don't understand, whoever named that. But
I think they understand fully and just think it's hilarious.
Yeah, probably. Either way. You can catch my tweets on Blue Sky if you really want to know what I'm thinking about WWE at any given time. I am still going to be active there talking about it, at least when I do watch it. But for now, we're going to go to a little bit of a shorter format. We'll work in some other things. We're still going to do our Call It in the Rings at the end. And that's pretty much it. I'm not going to 100% eulogize my fandom yet, but I am less interested in watching WWE right now, and I'm definitely not interested in defending TKO from any bad publicity they self-inflict.
Amen.
Yeah.
I mean, let me put it out there. Like, the rate. There's a little preview, I guess, for Call in the Ring. I won't make any secrets of it. We're going to be talking about the releases. But like, I'll say this just at the beginning and then leave it there, and maybe we'll sit on it, or maybe it'll entice you to stay to the end. Look at me doing this like actual media thing. Storytelling. No, but like, I'll say this, that I don't know if it was because many of I don't know if the people who were released were because they were LGBTQIA+, but enough of them got released all at once in this round that even if it was an absolute coincidence, which I think there's a strong possibility of, to be fair, it's still a horrible look.
Yeah.
An
It don't look good.
awful look. Terrible.
Look,
God, like, I mean, I can understand like letting somebody's contract like Shotzi run out. They weren't really doing anything with her anyway. But like, didn't the girl that just get married?
yeah.
Like, she just got married to her girlfriend like not that long ago.
Right.
Like, this kind of stuff.
I mean, that might have been a contributing factor for me because, for all of you, I'm not putting nobody's business out there really, but I'm the only cis man in my family. Everybody else is a member of the Alphabet Mafia. So, I'm not, that might have been part of it, you know? I can't, like, you're going to do that. People are lobbing all these accusations at you and at your fans.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to do that ever.
You just you look on Blue Sky, and there are some people who are very, very critical of people who still watch WWE for a lot of different reasons, but that's among them, and it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to argue.
Yeah,
you know, it really is.
Like I said, there's some things I won't defend them because I can't. And when you tell me, like, okay, WWE made some releases. Okay, guys, like, okay.
They do that every year.
I understand y'all being mad about that. Every wrestler, especially at that level, deserves to work and make a living. All of them do. They all deserve that. They do. They've worked that hard to get there. They deserve to make a living doing this. I get that. Okay. But if you're going to tell me you can't watch WWE because they release people every year, when we know this is going to happen every year, I have bad news for you about literally every wrestling company on the planet that does contracted work. They all release people and don't renew contracts.
Yeah.
It happens even in AEW. No, I'm not going to bag on Tony Khan for that. It happens. Both companies have an extremely bloated roster. Both companies. I mean, you can't get everybody on 6 hours a week. You can't.
If you look at the history of literally any wrestling company, I don't think there's there may be, I could probably count on one hand the number of wrestlers who have been with a major promotion from its inception to its death.
Right. Right.
Okay.
No, none except Undertaker.
People come and go.
Undertaker's the only guy who like stuck with one company. Like once he hit WWE, he stayed the entire time. But like he's the only one.
Shawn had to take a break for 4 years.
Yeah, like Shawn was gone. Hunter was in WCW first, and it was close enough to the Attitude Era that they could have kept him and done something with him. Steve Austin as well.
He was still there in '95.
Yeah. And think about this. This is the way I think about it. And we're going to talk about this a lot more on Call in the Ring because I have a few of these predictions that kind of go on with what I'm about to say here. But when a wrestling company releases somebody, yes, that's sad for said person. And it does suck. But
unless they're a terrible person, then
unless they're a terrible person. But what they create at that point is an opportunity for another company to make a moment.
Yeah, like choose your narrative.
Yeah, no. We'll talk. I'm not going to spoil any of my predictions yet, but we'll talk about this more during our Call in the Ring segment because I do have some big ones in mind. And guess what, guys? You're going to be surprised at them, even if you hear my predictions, because you're going to forget that I said this by the time we get there. I promise.
Yeah.
You're not going to remember that I said this, and then you're going to go, holy crap, that was awesome. And then you're going to forget that you were ever mad that they got released from WWE in the first place. Okay? And a few of them are extremely likely. I'm not just going to throw them out there because I believe in my wrestling brain that they would never happen. No. Some of them are very likely. In fact, at least 3.
I can't wait to get to it.
At least 3 of
I can't wait to get to it. I want to hear these.
Oh, yeah, dude.
I want to hear these and I
stick
want to
around. But before we do that, we're going to review Dynamite and Collision. I guess Adam and I are just going to do that in tandem. While we, go through our stuff. But it's time to kick it over to Dynamite. So Adam, kick us off with some Dynamite. Let us know what's going on.
All right. So this was a big, really, really weighted on episode of Dynamite because of the main event. Like Hanger's getting a lot of momentum going up. This was in his home, not state, Commonwealth of Virginia. Uh, not that far from Aaron's Creek, apparently, like maybe an hour away, I think they said on commentary, something like that. Uh, you could feel it in the crowd before anything even started. This crowd was hot. They were really ready for Hanger to come out and win. They wanted him to be there. They wanted him to win.
Yeah.
But before we get to that, we got a few matches to go through. And boy, did they start out with an amazing, what I've been hearing called, and I think this is the perfectly accurate term for it, the PWG style 8-man party match. Like,
if that's what they want to call it, that's fine.
Yeah, like this was, I mean, PWG became known for just kind of throwing a whole bunch of people in like an 8 or 10-man tag and just having a huge fun spot fest. And that's exactly what this was.
Yeah.
Now, granted, PWG was an indie. Storylines in indies are, they'll have one or two generally to keep you coming back. But like without TV, storylines in wrestling are on the rare side, honestly. This one had storylines interweaving all through it. You had Kenny Omega, Kevin Knight, Speedball, Mike Bailey, and Mark Briscoe versus the Young Bucks, Ricochet, and Kazuchika Okada. And they were pushing hard on commentary and on the 2 weeks prior to this, or the week prior to this, that this was the first time in AEW that you had Kenny Omega across the ring from Kazuchika Okada since 2018. And they really built this entire match up to that moment. They did a couple of teases where they were in the ring, they started out the ring in the ring at the same time, but then Okada tagged out because he's doing the douchey heel thing, which I kind of imagine that they probably would do considering they started in the ring. But a lot of times the stuff that you expect is the stuff that you hope to see. So it's not like that got me mad. It was like, yes, this is how this should go. They should build to this moment. And they didn't even like really touch until about 3/4 of the way through the match.
Yeah, it was like 15 minutes in before they even actually touched each other. Yeah. And the way they built that was great. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Because they had a lot of fun up to Kenny and it was like it started out there in the ring together. Okada does the heel thing. He's like, F off. He's like, no, we're not going to fight. Tag out. That's a beautiful old school heel move. Love it.
Absolutely.
That plays 100% into bitchy Okada, which I love because I love bitchy Okada.
Yeah.
And then
he's great.
And then they just had the beginning of a really fun spot fest as they built up like this crescendo. Everything just got more and more ridiculous. And then we get them back together. And it's like, this was
alone in the ring.
Beautifully.
It was a moment. It was a moment.
It was a moment.
And it was like, I know a lot of the AEW fan base kind of rolls their eyes when WWE talks about creating moments, but
that's what wrestling is.
This is the kind of stuff that you remember.
Yeah, that's what the moments are what you remember.
Yeah, that's why you remember a match is because of the moments within it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not to say that you don't remember the matches. Like, I love fantastic wrestling matches. I think it's just the most creative, living, breathing art form on earth, and I love it so much.
Yeah.
But the reason that it resonates is because they do something in the match to evoke an emotion. That evoked an emotion. I had goosebumps all up and down my arms. I was like, yes, this is what I want. Give this to me. And this was, like you said, they built up until that moment. There was so much fun. They did that old school 1970s arm wringer spot.
Oh, dude, that shit was my favorite thing.
I hadn't seen that in years.
It was my favorite thing.
I hadn't seen that in years. And the best part, because as soon as they started going through the entire team, you knew it was going to come down to Ricochet, and he was the one who was going to get switched out.
Yeah.
But the best part of that wasn't even the switch. It was the way Matt handled it. He reaches back. He realizes that it's not Omega's curly blonde hair, but a nice shiny bald head. Just by feeling it, he's like, ooh. just that look on his face, like Matthew Jackson. I've said this on the show before, but he really is probably the better wrestler of the two. I know a lot of people love Nick and his acrobatic stuff, and there's nothing wrong with that. He is a terrific athlete who does things that I can't even imagine in my brain
Matt's the better
before
seller.
he does them and shows me that it can be done.
Yeah.
But Matt is the better salesman.
Yeah, Matt's the better seller, man. Matt sells
He's a better salesman,
than his brother does.
And he's got so much more personality,
Yeah.
especially in his face.
Well, that's all
his
selling,
facial,
man. Like everything,
like,
facial expressions, the body language,
oh
the
my
way
gosh.
he reacts to moves, everything. Like he's just all of that selling,
So
and
good.
he's good at all of it, man. He's good at all of it. He's good at all of
Yeah.
the non-physical, like, well, not exactly non-physical. He's good at all of the non-athletic parts of this athletic contest, and
he's
good at the athletic parts too.
Like,
yeah. See, I wish I liked their characters more.
Yeah,
that's the problem. Like it's like Ricochet. Like I hate that man, and I hate him on an in real life level. But he's fantastic in the ring. The same way
I love watching him.
Fucking I will not watch Logan Paul on personal principle, but for fuck's sake, he is a good wrestler, and that's a problem. Like that's a problem for wrestling, because we have to face the question, like, and we kind of with Ricochet too. Like, are we good with scumbags being part of this industry if they're good at it? Like, shit. Yeah. Because that's a hard question to answer, because I don't know the answer, because everybody seems to be okay with Ricochet, so that seems to be the answer is yes.
My friend George, fan of the show, we interviewed him earlier this season. In our group Discord, he put it best. Pretty much almost every wrestler that you're going to meet is a scumbag in one way or another. Like, it's just the culture. It breeds, whether it's inherent in the person before they get into wrestling or not, a lot of that culture that bad influence just bleeds into them.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't say that that's a useful excuse for every situation. There's certainly lines should not be crossed.
There's levels to that scumbaggery.
There's levels.
Yeah, because you could just be you could just be an asshole, or then you could be Vince McMahon, and that is 10 levels separated from one another on this scale. So
absolutely. But
anyway.
Going back to the point though, Matt Jackson he's just fantastic.
He's great
with the arm wringer spot. God, like there was so much going on. Like like everybody was getting their stuff in though. Mark Briscoe looked great. Even though he was the one who eventually took the pin. Like, every time he gets an opportunity on TV, he just shows up and shows out.
Mark Briscoe maximizes his minutes better than anybody. If you're young and in the wrestling business, study this man. This is how you impact even when you're losing. Like, as long as you're not getting squashed and you're not being told by the promoter that this is a squash match, look at what Mark Briscoe does in loss and copy it or something. I mean, just look at that. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I am like, okay, I get that we gave him the ROH World Championship, and I mean, he's earned everything he's got. We can't just say we gave it to him. He earned the ROH World Championship at one point. Tony saw fit to bestow it on him at that point where he had earned it. But a lot of people,
Eddie Kingston, who is a lot of people's sentimental favorite. And they created, like, I wasn't even watching ROH. I still don't watch ROH. But like, there was enough of it online, and there was enough, in my sphere that I already looked at, and there was enough of it on AEW television where I knew what the storyline going in was, and it was like, it was all about respect and Eddie's respect for Jay. And it's like, out of respect for Jay, I'm going to fight you to the death. And you, out of respect for your brother, had better fight me to the death. There will be a better man. And I hope it'll be me. But if it's you, I'm cool with that too. But you better earn it for him. Like, it was all about the love of Jay.
Yeah.
Like, and that's a storyline you want to win a world title off of, man.
Yeah. But my further point with that is that look how great he's been these last few weeks, especially, and in victory and defeat. I mean, he beat Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
He beat Ricochet.
he beat Ricochet. You know, I mean, so like
these are not small wins.
When gonna be my time? Like when are we going to show Mark Briscoe the respect he deserves and put at least an international championship around his waist? And I understand that Kenny Omega is the internet. I understand that, but eventually Kenny Omega is gonna have to be the world champion again.
If you go along with the thought that it looks like they're going with, that All In is going to feature Kenny Omega versus Okada with both belts on the line in some kind of title unification match, whether that merges the Continental title into the International title the other way, or the creation of an Intercontinental Championship, however that may be.
I don't think they'll be able to call it that.
I mean,
it makes sense
WWE
to call it that, but I don't know, man.
Sue New Japan.
Does New Japan have an Intercontinental title?
They did.
Oh, they did. Okay.
For a while. Cool. Yeah, they did. In fact, you know who the first one was?
No idea.
MVP.
Oh, wow. Oh, I mean,
MVP. Gokujin Gojira.
That dude is legit for real.
That dude is that dude.
So, yeah,
that dude is that dude.
MVP would, if they made MVP world champion in AEW, I would not be mad, and I wouldn't even blink. I'd be like, oh, that's like Samoa Joe being champion. You know, I mean,
yeah, I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, I wouldn't hate it at all.
But no matter what they do, if they make it one title, I think Mark Briscoe should be the next guy to hold it.
There you go.
I think you should, like, the main event scene is very, very crowded.
Yeah.
But man, that international title has become the workhorse title. It's become the WWF Intercontinental title of 1991.
Yeah.
92.
That's the guy that shows up
glory
always.
Years.
Yeah.
He shows up, he shows out. That's the work rate title.
I mean,
you know,
it kind of has to be though, because I mean, how long has it been since we've laid eyes on the World Heavyweight Championship?
Yeah.
You know,
but it had gotten there, oddly enough. I mean, the first one, if you want to bring it back to the All Atlantic title, was Pac, and then he lost it to Orange Cassidy, who held it for 13 months or something,
and wrestled every show with it.
Orange Cassidy. Think about that. That'll make so many like Cornette cultists so angry.
They could be mad about that. Fuck that. I don't care.
No, what I'm saying though is that the work rate title was made the work rate title by Orange Cassidy,
as they would call him, Pockets. I don't find that to be derogatory at all. I feel like his pocket gimmick is fucking genius.
Yeah, absolutely.
Orange Cassidy is absolutely one of my favorite people on AEW. I would love for him to come back from his injury and challenge who. Okay, so I don't know where the Everest thing is. I haven't looked in a couple of days, so I don't know where they're at.
Well, I haven't heard any news, so no news.
No news is good news for now. But I would love if after all of this Death Rider and Super Macho Tough Guy shit is over, that we get like Orange Cassidy and Darby Allin over the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. I wouldn't be mad at it at all. I wouldn't care if either of them were heels. I would just love to see it happen, because it would be the perfect like dessert to this super testosterone infused thing we have going on right now, where everybody's just too tough to be cool. Like they're just everybody has they have to prove they have the biggest balls, and the way to do that is by being the biggest asshole. And that's pretty much the world title picture in AEW right now when you are at the top of it, because that is 100% Samoa Joe and you know John Moxley.
The difference is Samoa Joe is cool.
The difference is Samoa Joe is cool while he has the biggest balls.
So smooth, man. Like, you listen to that man talk and you believe every single word that he says.
I believe it. And
every single word.
Yeah. Yeah. And if he told me, I'd be like, yes, sir. Whatever you want, sir. I'm not. Nope. Yeah. Like I can hold my own.
I would love to meet Samoa Joe one day.
I do. I want to, man. I think he'd be so cool.
I have a real like stage fright, like starstruck thing going on but I would love to talk to Samoa Joe and just like talk Godzilla movies because I know he's a huge fan.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'd be like, it's like I know you're a Godzilla fan. I know you are because I saw that picture of King Ghidorah in the on the wall in that one interview that you did on Zoom. I know you, sir. This is something we have in common, and that I would love to share with you.
Right. But yeah,
But
yeah, with this match, it's super fun, man. Like I love what they do with this.
There was so much like I mean uh, highlights. Stereo crane kicks.
Oh yeah,
that was awesome.
That. Fun spot.
It was so cool. The one the part where Okada flips off Bailey and he like spin kicks his middle finger away and then kicks him in the face. That was great. A double Meltzer driver or TK driver, I guess. Like, oh my gosh. Like so much cool. And you know what the best part was? One Rainmaker did it. They still protected the Rainmaker finish. Like, to me, like, there was so much cool stuff to this, but it was, everybody was kicking out of everybody's finishers and stuff like that, or being saved by that. But one from Okada, like, they protected that Ripcord Lariat like it was precious, like it belonged in the Ark of the Covenant. Like, it was, like, I loved that, because you know that when he hits it on Kenny, you know he's going to kick out, but nobody's going to believe that he's gonna.
And they're going to lose
and it's going to get a huge reaction.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just about to say. I was like, that's because when Kenny kicks out at All In, people are going to lose their minds.
Yeah.
They're going to lose
their
minds. I don't either, because I'm going to.
Yeah, me too. I already know what's gonna happen, and I'm gonna fall for it, hook, line, and sinker.
Hell yeah, I am, because they're gonna build the match to that point where by the time he gets a full on freaking Rainmaker on him, I'm gonna be like, oh, it's over now. It's been 35 minutes already. This shit is over, And then he's gonna kick out, and I'm gonna have to pry the couch cushion out of my ass.
Oh, but okay, enough about that match, though, because we went probably way over time, despite the fact that this is supposed to be a shorter episode. Match 2 was the Ops versus Guys. And
Guys. Okay, one of those guys was Rhett Titus, so let's give that man his due. But because my wife's a big fan of Rhett Titus, but
he's no longer addicted to love. Like,
yeah, I didn't like that either. Like, where's the bow tie, Rhett? And what happened to your hair, dog?
Where's the giving of the hotel key to somebody in the front row? Like,
yeah.
I mean, I know that he got rid of it like a long time ago, when he started teaming up with Kenny
but
King.
That's how we saw it.
The All Night Express. But, like, I miss Addicted to Love, Rhett Titus.
Yeah.
Like,
that's how I saw him the only time I've seen him live, that's how I saw him at that Supercard show.
It was so good, too.
So good.
I loved that gimmick. He was so sleazy and gross, and just like, oh, you wanted to hate him, and you really wanted to see him get beat up. Like,
I really wanted to make sure
it's kind of yeah, like, it was like that gimmick. I think that gimmick could still work.
It could.
Like, you'd have to ride the line a little bit, because you'd have to like kind of come up to the line, because the AEW audience in specific is a little bit more sensitive when it comes towards casual misogyny, and I'm not saying that that's a bad thing that they're that sensitive, for the record, but like, I still feel like there's room for scumbags being scumbags as long as they get their comeuppance. Professional wrestling is just morality plays with gymnastics. Like, that's really all it is. So if your bad guy behaves badly and then they immediately receive karma for it, I don't see that as a bad thing.
No.
Like, I mean, and that's a gimmick too. That's not a storyline. So a gimmick, you can play that over and over again.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, his gimmick is that he's a sleazebag to women, and then he immediately gets beat up every single time.
Yeah.
The whole thing is the gimmick, not just the sleaze part. the getting beat up part is also part of the gimmick.
Yeah.
It's like Max Caster, except with, casual misogyny.
Well, like
So
what if? Well, I mean, like, what if, like, at the end of this Hurt Syndicate and MJF thing, that, like, Bobby Lashley, like, they go for another thumb, and Bobby's like, no, and MJF's like, why? And Bobby's like, you know what? I've watched you be a dick to every woman we've come across since I've been here, and I don't like you for it.
yeah.
Do you know how that would be a huge pop? The AEW crowd specifically would love that shit.
They absolutely would.
And it would, but it would also justify all the casual misogyny that came before it, because we had to have that to get here.
Yeah.
So it's a balancing act, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it was, it was a squash match.
No, I mean, of course, yeah.
But afterwards, Death Riders come out, and eventually, Shibata gets the same treatment that Hook got several weeks ago with the neutralizer on the upside down folded out chair. See, this is the problem that you kind of run into with stables and factions, is that a lot of the times to get the guy one-on-one, you have to do the same story beats over and over again about taking out the guy's allies one by one. It's like we just saw this with Cope.
Yeah.
To a degree.
The other direction.
And granted, I still say that was really, the way that they executed it was well done. But, and it wasn't the same every week. Each elimination was different.
Yeah.
But, we just did this, guys. We just did this. You could have built towards the cage without the elimination of the allies, because the cage implies that they're going to keep the allies out of this. So why do you need to eliminate them? I feel like it was this is an unnecessary step. Now, if Shibata had time off that was coming to him and they needed to write him off, okay, whatever. But I would buy that more than, just hitting these same story beats that we've already hit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That being said, Samoa Joe gets a promo after this, so it wasn't all for nothing. He says Moxley, he's acts like a boss, but when hands get thrown, he runs away, because they had retreated.
Yeah,
at this point.
They left.
He waits he waits until they're all the way, all the way in the back, to say this. So then he challenges them to the cage to make it really one-on-one. TK will later say via commentators that match is official, that the challenge is being written into it as a cage match, and we'll have that, was it next week?
Yeah.
No, next week? Next week. Third match, Timeless Tony Storm in a championship eliminator match versus Miyu Yamashita, who hasn't been seen on AEW television in a while.
Yeah.
But they made sure to give her a nice video package kind of explaining who she was.
That she's a
and
psychopath?
That she was one of, and I didn't realize this, but she's one of only 3 people to actually win an eliminator match and then go on to challenge for the belt.
Oh.
That they won. Yeah. They said that right in the video package, which I thought was great. They said it again. She beat Thunder Rosa.
Yeah.
To do it when Thunder Rosa was champion 2-3 years ago. Which is it seems like it wasn't that long ago that she was champion, but it's been an eternity since she was a champion.
Yeah.
But this match was a lot of Yamashita just beating the crap out of Tony, which is fine. Baby faces got to get their comebacks in. Yeah. I thought this was there was a really strangely kind of weirdly long commercial break. Right in the middle.
Yeah.
I felt like it went on forever.
Yeah.
I felt like it went on for 7 minutes. It probably wasn't that long.
But it was a long time. It was much longer than normal.
I feel like it made for a really weird watching experience, because you came back and then by the time the match was done, you felt like you missed half the match.
Yeah.
And it felt like it wasn't finished.
Yeah.
That being said, I mean, it was still good. Masha's kicks are crazy.
Yeah.
Uh,
Jeez.
win comes with Hip Attack and a Storm Zero. I mean, not really too much new in the way of the finish for Timeless Tony, but I mean, it works. It works. You got to get your stuff in, right?
Yeah.
Um, After the match, Mercedes is here. She does her little dance. She makes it clear that she's coming for the world title. And then Jamie Hayter's music hits. And I'm, fist bumping at home
Yeah.
because of course I am. And they have like a little confrontation, and Hayter just kind of beats her up a little bit and chases her off. Uh, I mean, this was clear to establish that both of these challengers are on even footing. And that, to give you the idea, like a lot of times, especially with tournaments, some of the sometimes the foibles of booking a tournament is that the eventual winner is clear.
Yeah.
Now, I think that it would be silly to put Mercedes in this position when you could get two women's matches out of it with two titles on the line.
I
And
think
I
that's
think that's where
precisely
they're
what's
going to
going to
go.
happen.
I think, me too. I think she's going to defend against Athena in Athena's home state of Texas. And I think Athena's going to win.
I believe that also.
Tony has a very, very good history of letting people win in their hometown / state / country if it matters. So I believe he's saving that big moment for All In. Basically giving Athena the coming out party that she deserves. The call it back from ROH. She probably won't even drop the ROH title. I bet she just abdicates it like Samoa Joe did.
That's
And,
probably.
Tony loves the tournament. He'll book one for the ROH women's title.
Yeah, probably.
Uh,
And Billy Starks
but
will win it.
yeah, I think that's the right call too.
I do too.
I mean, it's her or what? Red Velvet, probably.
Yeah, one or the other. Yeah.
I would
I'd say.
imagine those two would probably be the finalists.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like at least, even though I think that Hayter is all but a lock to win this tournament, I feel like at least they're giving they're putting their best foot forward and trying to make you believe that either one of these women has an equal chance of coming out of that match on top.
Yeah.
So good for them. Good for them. I mean, they've got a long way to go. Like as of this recording, the pay-per-view is 4 weeks away, so they've got a long time to build this.
Yeah.
Jamie Hayter's got a sit-down interview with Renee Paquette coming up on Wednesday, as advertised by Collision. So, I mean, that'll push things forward and everything. So, we'll see where else it goes. But the best part about this was when Jamie Hayter's music hit again after she chased off Mercedes. Timeless Tony had a breakdance party in the center of the ring. And it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yes.
Timeless Tony can do no wrong.
No.
Fight me.
Not
Fight
yet.
me. Fight me.
And a reminder: if you try to fight Adam, I will fight you.
Yeah.
And I'm
See, that's
way
why I can
crazier.
say.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's why I'm comfortable saying fight me, because I will not be able to win.
Yeah.
But Aaron will be able to win.
That's true.
Yes, I'm hiding behind my friends. Absolutely, I'm hiding behind my friends.
Yeah. Hell yeah, he is. And yeah, I'm gonna whoop you for him.
Get yourself a guy who can do both. Anyway, moving on. Don Callis family, they're like making and writing history. This was basically just to pump up the main event, Kyle Fletcher versus Hangman Page. Yeah, I mean, he did a pretty good job of making you believe that like this is gonna be a test for Hangman. Like, and I believe it too. Like, Fletcher, has any wrestler in the last 12 months come so far in AEW as Kyle Fletcher in terms of perception?
No.
Like, I don't think anybody's even close in terms of perception. I mean, he's a main event or sub main event guy now. He was a tag team guy 12 months ago.
Yeah.
Like that was the perception of him. Uh incredible, incredible wrestler who's just completely owning every minute that he's given. And this was no different. He cuts a really passionate promo about how he's gonna finally, he's gonna go on and right two wrongs by finally putting the nail in the coffin with Ospreay and then taking his place on the top of the mountain when he beats Jon Moxley. That's what you want the challenger to do, even if they're a heel versus a heel. Um, yeah. So there you go. Hurt Syndicate are here, and they're in the backstage area, and you've got a bunch of just random people backstage. They never give any explanation for who they are or what they're doing there, but they're singing their theme song because, of course, why wouldn't you? And then they get the snot kicked out of them because, of course, why wouldn't
because
you?
why wouldn't
I mean, this whole segment was, of course, why wouldn't it happen that way? Right. That was the theme. After they beat up those geeks, MVP says that we've been thinking about adding a fourth member. Why can't you come on, think about it from a business perspective, Bobby. Come on, let's go out there and let's get a recount. It needs to be unanimous. Let's do this. Blah 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 blah. So, they go out to the ring and let the crowd sing it. They do not beat up the crowd for singing along with it.
Well, no, they love it. See how big Bobby Lashley smiles every time they do that? Like he can't play a heel, like and just because he loves it. It's so
funny because Bobby Lashley, of those three, is probably the most legitimately scary one. But he's like all smiles. He's all like friendly guy until MJF shows up,
and then he's MJF. Like
he seethes every time he looks on the guy. Like it's whoa. So see, Lashley knows. That dude's a scumbag. He's not. He's a scumbag. Yeah.
So here, I mean, we get the usual. What has become the usual Hurt Syndicate VMJF segment. We have, MVP, of course, gives him his thumbs up because, of course, he does because they have a history and he sees something in Max. And then Shelton gives him a thumbs up because he thinks he's funny, and he is. Let's be honest.
And he does tease that, though.
But he does tease a little bit. Thumb. But now Bobby takes
playfully.
Bobby basically takes an extra long time to once again say no. So I'm not sure where this is going. I feel like it can go one of two ways. Because at this point, doing this over and over again, like we need to move on from this point. I don't know if they haven't figured out exactly where they're going yet, and so they keep replaying this.
I think they have. I think they were just doing the rule of three.
But are we going to get him in the Hurt Syndicate, which I don't think is what's going to happen, or is he going to screw them out of the tag team titles?
Well, which is what I think is Bobby more likely. What Bobby said when accosted by MJF over why he won't give him a thumbs up, he grabs him by the lapels and he throws him into the corner, and it looks like he's gonna absolutely just like eat him, in one bite, like a freaking dragon.
Yes.
And he says basically, like, you don't impress me. If you want to impress me so bad, do what we do. Prove that you belong here in the Hurt Syndicate. What do we do in the Hurt Syndicate? We hurt people. If you want to impress me, go out and hurt someone. I think he's gonna hurt Bobby.
Maybe.
I don't think that's gonna get him into the Hurt Syndicate.
No.
But I think that he's going to say, well, maybe I don't need y'all after all. And I think he's going to take a tire iron to Bobby's knee or something. I don't know.
Maybe. I mean, I would honestly, though, if he
He's starting to
did.
get babyface reactions again.
Yeah, and if he did take a tire iron to Bobby Lashley, there's a few people that are going to cheer that just because it's Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
I'm going to cheer it because I feel like that's the same thing I would do if someone stole a $125,000 car from me.
Yeah.
Because I love that car and I know exactly what car it is and how much it costs. And if somebody stole that car from me, I would definitely take a tire iron to them and maybe their kids.
The kids had nothing to do with it.
No, not the kids. But definitely the people. Because it's a beautiful car. I could see him doing something like that in retaliation for having that car stolen from him. So, and we still haven't gotten a resolution on that. Like, did MJF get his car back, or didn't he?
No, I
I'm
don't know.
assuming not. So yeah, take a tire iron to his leg. For sure. And I wouldn't be mad at MJF for that. Like, yes, he's done some scumbag things in this process. He has. We also know that he is a scumbag. Like, that's MJF.
Yep.
Whether now choosing to cheer him, completely objective.
That's your prerogative.
Yeah.
It's your absolutely incorrect prerogative. And it's your prerogative.
But I mean, it's the same. It's kind of the same as like the Hurt Syndicate. Like the Hurt Syndicate are supposed to be heels,
but they're so cool.
But everybody loves them, so it's just different, I guess. So I don't know. Maybe MJF hurts Bobby. I could see that happening. I could also see he hurts Bobby, maybe screws them out of the tag titles. I could see maybe,
it would be a way to get the belts off of them that would be believable, because right now they just look unstoppable.
Yeah. But it would also be a way to put them both off into singles title competition, and then you could get a stable with all the titles by adding Crew and making them the tag team champions. Yeah. Which I hate saying that, but those guys are super talented in the ring. They fit with the brand, just attitude wise. And the only thing I really hate about them is those freaking jackets.
I don't know. They kind of look like Bowser with them. I'm cool with that.
They look like
kind of
spiky little Mario turtles.
I think it's funny.
But I don't know.
I don't like the name. I think the name is dumb.
Yeah, I think the name is dumb too.
CRU, is that supposed to have some kind of significance?
I don't know. They haven't said.
I don't know.
It's just a dumb 90s spelling of a regular word.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm assuming what's his name is like my age because he's been around forever.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name right now. Oh my God. I should know this guy's name because sometimes I like him and sometimes I don't. And the older guy in Crew.
Leo Rush.
Leo Rush. Okay, yeah. I'm like assuming he's close to my age because he's been around forever.
I
mean, he's probably like 28 or.
He's 29. Been around forever, but I think he got started really young.
Yeah,
is the thing. I think he's probably mid 30s at oldest.
Yeah. Probably. Now, see, could they be in there though? Because they have a history also with Hurt Syndicate. Because I'm pretty sure Leo Rush disappeared from WWE right after Bobby Lashley called CPS on him.
He does have a history with Bobby Lashley.
Yeah.
As what I thought was a really effective mouthpiece, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, Leo Rush is a really, really good at getting people to want to see him get thrown across the ring.
Yeah. He was a good little chicken shit manager. But he's a really great wrestler too, so please don't pigeonhole him back in that role.
Excellent wrestler. The only thing that holds him back is like 5'4" frame.
Yeah, he's little. He's itty bitty.
I think his style absolutely plays into his stature though.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. He looks like a real threat because of the way he does his stuff.
Yeah. He makes it work. He makes it work with the psychology that he employs.
Yeah. So what happened after that?
We forgot the segment that set this up. We'll go back to it. The patriarchy was back with Renee earlier in the show. I forgot to cover it. But Nick Wayne was like, he was celebrating his Ring of Honor World Television title win over Commander, and all of a sudden Jay Lethal comes out, because remember last week he said that it was going to be time for him to start making some decisions. I thought that it was implied that it was for their whole group and not just Jay Lethal, but I don't know. Maybe it was just Jay Lethal. He mentioned that he was the greatest Ring of Honor World Television Champion of all time. Debatable. but he has held he held it longer than anybody over the course of his 2 reigns. Uh, Samoa Joe broke the record for single reign, but his single reign doesn't eclipse the amount of total days held by Jay Lethal in 2 reigns. But he basically goads him into trying to take a challenge for the title, but Nick Wayne was like, I'm not really dressed to compete. Like this is last minute. Maybe next week. And then that's when Christian Cage steps in and accepts for him. And basically says, if you're gonna be a champion, you gotta act like a champion.
Yeah.
So this was this match that was set up. It's a good thing that Nick Wayne was a good little wrestler and learned one of the very first rules of being a professional wrestler, and that's even if you're not scheduled, is to bring your gear everywhere anyway.
Yep.
Because he got in his gear and he went out to the match, and he had a perfectly fine match with Jay Lethal. Nothing like super special, other than the fact that he beat him clean, which
he seems
should
to
mean
be beating
something.
a lot of people clean when he wins. Like
Remember the heels tend not to win clean.
Yeah.
So I really think this is going to set up an eventual babyface turn when Christian Cage ultimately turns on him and probably 6 Kip Sabian against him. And maybe that's where they're holding back Killswitch returning. Because he had, what was it, pneumonia?
Some bad lung infection, man. I don't even know if that was
real bad, but that was 2 months, 3 months ago now.
Yeah.
People
have seen him at cons. I haven't actually seen pictures of him, but I have seen people on Blue Sky be like, I went to this con and Luchasaurus was there. And, but it's only been a couple in that whole time. So I'm not sure.
I'm no doctor, but I imagine that while, he had a really, really bad infection or whatever, that he's probably over it by now, especially if, like you say, he's going to cons and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if maybe they're just holding back his return to facilitate the turn on by Christian Cage on Nick Wayne to facilitate Nick Wayne turning babyface.
Yeah.
That would make sense to me. He's been off TV for so long that eventually people just kind of are going to forget that he was there, which kind of sucks. It's not like Luchasaurus. But, it serves the story better if they do forget that he was there in the first place.
Yeah.
But yeah, he hit him with a cross-legged fisherman buster or something I had never seen him finish anybody off with before. Yeah. So maybe they'll give that a name by the next time he shows up on TV. But yeah, it was nothing It was good. I'm not gonna say it was boring, but it was just good, not great.
Yeah.
And now the main event: Hangman versus Kyle Fletcher, and this was so much different than anything else on the card because it started off real slow and fundamental, and then it just built and it built and it built, and by the end, everybody was on their feet. It was freaking great. Yeah. It was really, really great. And honestly, I think this match may approach the same levels as that second match that Fletcher had with Ospreay in terms of getting Fletcher over. I don't think it's quite there. I think that the one where he beat Ospreay probably did more for him, but this is right up there. Yeah. Showing him that he can hang with a former world champion, somebody who they let put the title belt on him and put the company on his back. This, I wouldn't necessarily say it was a coming out party. I'd say that Fletcher was probably already out, if you will. But this was a reminder. Let's just say that it was a really good reminder of how far Fletcher has come in the last 12 months, like we discussed earlier.
Yeah, it was great. I thought everything about it was great. I was just really into it the whole time. I kind of had it already in my head, Hanger's going to win this, so I wasn't surprised. But at the same time, they built they got me a couple times where I was like, oh shit, Kyle Fletcher's about to win this match.
Yeah, there were a couple of brain busters in there. I'm like,
And there was also a couple of times I was expecting Don Callis and he didn't show up.
Yeah, I was surprised at the sheer lack of Don Callis.
Yeah.
Interference. Lance Archer was at ringside too, and he barely made a difference either.
Yeah, they just a crazy lack of like the DCF being involved in this match at all, despite there being like 100 of them now.
Yeah.
You know,
it's an enormous stable.
It is. Yeah, like they went from having like 3 guys and Don Callis, and now it's like 7.
Now they're like 7 strong.
Yeah, like 7 or 8 now. Yeah, so
and a couple of them are injured.
Yeah, but still, like they're becoming the NWO very quickly.
I mean, I hope it stops there.
But who's the? but that leads us to who's the top heel faction? Is it the Death Riders or is it the Don Callis family? Because I could argue for the Don Callis family all day because they definitely have.
I mean, they have Takeshita.
They have Takeshita, and
by himself. That's a lot,
argument. And they have Kyle Fletcher.
Then you add Fletcher.
Yeah, and then you have like the Murder Machine,
somebody criminal.
Yeah. And then you got
you have like
Roppongi
Brian Cage,
Vice,
criminally underrated Brian Cage.
Yeah,
like criminally underutilized dude.
Yeah,
like there's a reason Lucha Underground made him their champion. There's a reason TNA made him their champion. Like the dude is like,
yeah,
he's just unfortunately he's just not. I don't know. I mean, it's a really, really crowded, really, really talented scene in that stratosphere.
It is
that in AEW right now. It's just we are glutted with talent.
Yeah.
Let's just say that.
But yeah, so I mean, it's like I don't know, man. There was a distinct lack of them in this match, but this match was so good, man. It was just so good.
I loved the finish too.
Yeah.
I loved the finish. I've seen him hit the buckshot lariat out of that weird position in the corner off the top, like doing the flip from the corner and then hitting it and then going to finish him off with the second one. You know, he probably didn't need it.
No.
Because he hadn't hit it and then got it kicked out of earlier in the match. But it just goes to show the willingness of Hangman. It's like, no. I don't trust that. I need another one. For my own peace of mind.
Yeah.
That puts over Kyle Fletcher.
Yeah.
Even in defeat. Like, it's those little things, those little storytelling beats. Like, yeah. I keep saying it over and over. But, like, Hangman is so good at those little things. Whether it's his promos or in his matches. Like, he's so nuanced with them and quiet about them that, like, they don't go talked about enough. And I feel like, even though, like, he's the most beloved guy on the roster, like a lot of like pundits, like if you want to call them that, like other podcasts and stuff, like they don't make a big deal about Hangman and the stuff that he does. But it's like I've never been involved in the wrestling business in my life, and I'm picking up on this stuff. So why aren't you guys talking about it? Like this is the shit, man. Like this is the stuff I really enjoy. You know, having watched for as long as I can remember, eventually everything is old and you start to focus on the little details that make people different from each other. The things that, you know, maybe some younger fans wouldn't notice because, you know, they're still kind of in love with it for its own sake. You know, when you've seen as much wrestling as old timers like us have, like you need to impress us.
Yeah.
And, like Hanger always impresses me with that kind of stuff. He and Omega are like of the same. I think it's probably Omega's influence, honestly.
Yeah. Because
Omega does that. He's made a career out of doing that kind of stuff. The long game, you know, huge canon kind of stuff where there are Easter eggs all over the place. Like the Elite, like made their entire careers from stuff like that. And Hangman's no different. I think Hangman's better at it.
Yeah.
Ultimately. I think it's because he's been able to do it alone.
Yeah.
Whereas everybody else kind of like leans on each other and everything. Is, oh, well, if one person isn't going to do the Easter egg this week, then another person will. Hanger, when he's by himself, he has nobody but himself to make sure that those points get across. So he's going to make sure that he does it.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, Hanger wins after 2 buckshot lariats. Really, really good match. Uh, I don't think Kyle Fletcher loses anything from this.
Nope.
I think he looked amazing.
Yep.
And now we get Hangman Page versus Will Ospreay in the finals at Double or Nothing. And I truly don't know who's going to win. And I love that I don't know who's going to win. You can make a really, really good case for literally both of them.
Yeah. I have
I mean,
no
I
idea.
know who I would want, but I'm not going to let that dictate who I'm going to predict because I can't predict this.
Yeah.
Maybe we've got another 4 weeks. Let's see where the storyline leads.
Yeah, let's see where the storyline leads.
If I know Hanger, he's going to try and make it as ambiguous as possible.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
easy, like incredible show. Easy, one of the best Dynamites in the last year or so.
Yeah, it was very good.
And like it wasn't quite on the level as the number 289, but with the trios title on the switching hands and everything, but like the one that broke the record, but like this is pretty close. Yeah. This is pretty close.
Oh yeah. Well, with that said, let's get over to Collision.
All right, Collision from May 3rd. First thing I want to talk about is this venue was awesome.
Yeah, I really liked it.
Amazing. A little smaller, not as big capacity or whatever. Some kind of theater thing. I don't know what exactly it was, but it looked amazing. I love these little. I know I keep going on and on about this, but like this is one of the best decisions that Tony Khan made coming into 2025 was to focus on these smaller, more intimate, cool as hell hole in the wall venues like that are so unique. Like the last time they were in Atlantic City, they were it wasn't the time that I was there. That was 2 times ago. But they went to the same casino that I went and saw them. That's where I went and saw Keith Lee debut. It was awesome. I saw CM Punk and Moxley and Darby and Sting. I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
No, Moxley and Sting versus FTR and Max.
Oh.
And in the main event, and it was awesome. But yeah, this was a different venue in Atlantic City, a much smaller venue. Not obviously not part of a casino. Mm-hmm. I don't know where it was, but the Adrian Phillips Theater, it says.
Okay.
In the Boardwalk Hall in Atlantic City. Yeah, keep going to venues like these. Like, and as we'll talk about very soon, the venue actually played a huge part in a really, really, really cool segment. So, before we get to that though, Adam Cole is introduced. TNT champion Adam Cole is on commentary for the whole night.
For the whole night. Yeah, that's kind of weird.
For the whole night. I thought it was cool. I thought it was refreshing. I think Adam Cole, like, basically being a really interested fan on commentary, like, you can tell that Adam Cole as a person is a really, really nice, super cool dude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, he plays a really good heel when the time calls for him. But, like you see him on his Twitch streams, like, this is like the nicest guy ever. Like, it like the parasocial part of me is like, what did Britt Baker do to lose this guy? Like, he's so like good. Like, he's just good. You can just kind of tell it kind of radiates off of him. That I don't want to crap on Britt Baker. You know, people's relationships. I mean, if you look at it by the numbers, most relationships will fail. So, like, I mean, it happens. I don't know where Britt Baker's been. We haven't seen her since November now.
Yeah.
I hope that it wasn't this relationship that soured her on AEW, or is causing her to spiral out or anything like that. Like, I hope she's okay.
Yeah.
Like, but the timing of it does seem to kind of coincide with their breakup, and I'm like,
That's
I don't
weird.
want to
Yeah.
say that there's correlation there, but like the evidence seems to be pointing in that direction. I hope she's cool though. I hope she's okay. Britt, we hope you I hope we're on TV soon. I kind
Yeah.
of miss seeing you on TV, honestly.
Right.
But in any case, Adam Cole is here and he's on commentary the entire night. Uh it was so good that he started the show with the women's match too, because like he's such a champion for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can tell he loves supporting women's wrestling. Um, this was Tony Storm in a second consecutive eliminator match. This time versus Lady Frost, who's been she's shown up at AEW a lot, but I don't think she's signed. I don't think
No, I
she's
don't
ever
think
signed
so.
with AEW. They said she was 13 out of her last 17 in CMLL, who they have obviously a close partnership with now. I like Lady Frost. Like, you can tell just by her body language. Like, you didn't need the commentary to tell, oh, she was a gymnast, she was a dancer. Like, the way she moves reminds me a lot of all of the dancers in the theater program at SUNY Fernandina, where I went to school. It was like, she reminds me of this woman that I met. And this one of my classmates. Like, just the way that she moves her hands and her arms, like, just her entire body language screams gymnast and dancer.
Yeah.
Uh, and I think that's, I don't know, that kind of makes her different. And I kind of like that. Like, anything that makes you different, makes you stand out, is a boon to you in the professional wrestling world. There's a lot of sameness. So anything that makes you stick out is great. Um, she was just doing a whole bunch of tons of flips that would make like the most hardcore conservative wrestling fan probably pull their hair out. Like, it's like, oh, it's not gymnastics. It's like, it's totally gymnastics, dude. Get over yourself. Um, but there was she did a cartwheel. They were on the outside, and Lady Frost rather, gets up on the barricade and does a cartwheel into a front senton, like onto Tony Storm on the ground. Like, it doesn't look like she's any way uncomfortable on that beam at all. Like, again, gymnast stuff, but like, she made it look so effortless. It's so cool. There was a sky high from Storm from the second rope. I don't think I've ever seen that before. That was pretty dope.
Yeah, that was cool.
Uh, the finish comes when uh, Tony Storm locks in a crossface chicken wing, and a really good one at that. It looks as tight as the Oscar lock. Like, that was tight,
Yeah.
and she was like ragdolling her in it too, like really really selling the brutality of the submission hold. And Lady Frost taps, like, okay, that's cool. Old school character, old school submission hold. I'm down. I'm about it. But as good as the match was, and the match was good, I think that wasn't the thing that most people were talking about, was
No, I don't think
it?
so.
What do you think? You want to narrate this one?
Nah,
The aftermath?
you know, I can't remember everything she said, and I probably shouldn't repeat it.
It I remember seeing that, because I hadn't watched. My my cat was sick, and he had just come home uh last night. As we're recording this, last night would have been Saturday. So I was trying to figure out how to take care of him and make
Mhm.
sure that he was good. So I was on delay watching Collision. I watched really really late at night. I don't think I started watching until like midnight. It was, ugh, it was brutal. Being at work was brutal today. But I saw I saw this promo just surfing through Blue Sky, and you can go and look on my timeline, my skyline. It's still up there. I retweet it, and it's like, she, hero, role model, queen, goddess, timeless. Like as only she can do.
Yeah.
She called out. And somehow keeps getting away with it. I don't know how she keeps getting away with it, but she's just the force of her personality, I suppose. But
yeah,
she called anybody who wants some, basically come get some. She's not hard to find, and then she literally gets out of the ring. Oh, I'm right here. She's with
I'm
this
over
fan.
here.
Oh, I'm right over here next to the cameraman. Oh, I'm right over here next to this lovely gentleman with the sign. I'm over here pretending to go to sleep. And then she goes outside the building. Because of the way it's set up, she can just go right outside these big old French doors that they have.
Yeah.
Right out onto a balcony overlooking the boardwalk of Atlantic City. And she screams, I'll be ready. I'll be sweaty. I'm here. I'm queer. And I'm timeless. Like, iconic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute. This is going to be a moment that's going to be replayed in every AEW fan's brain for years to come.
For years.
It was absolutely, it was simple, but it was entertaining, it was humorous, and at the end it was just this bold, emphatic, declarative statement. Basically, I don't know if the round of releases from WWE had anything to do with it, or if it was just the nature of the country that we're in right now. But she just boldly, proudly goes out there, asserts her different than heterosexuality.
Yeah.
And just owns it and dares you to say something about it, or she'll knock your tits off.
Right? Yeah.
It was. I'm the least interesting Kinsey score you're ever gonna see. Okay, but even that hit me, and I'm like, wow. If this is hitting me like this, I can only imagine how much it means to LGBTQIA plus people.
Right.
I can only imagine that this means, and looking on Blue Sky, I think I'm right in saying that this is going to be a moment that particular fan base, that subset of the fan base, is going to latch onto for a long, long, long time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Sure.
This
it was wonderful.
It was defiant. It was everything that we need.
Mm-hmm.
It was fantastic.
Yeah,
utterly top marks all around.
And still just the best thing in wrestling. Toni Storm is just the best. She keeps topping herself somehow.
Adam Page is right under there, but it's not as close as you might think. It's not a huge chasm, but it's there's still some significant distance there. And I love Hangman Page. I think he's probably the most compelling male character they have, for sure.
Yeah.
But Toni Storm, she's untouchable right now.
She's not just the best thing in AEW. She's the best thing everywhere. It doesn't matter. They need to. Tony, you need to do the right thing. And eventually, you need, whenever it is that you let the women main event a pay-per-view, it needs to be Toni defending the belt and winning. Either winning the belt or defending it successfully. I would argue that she will main event at All In. Do you really think?
I don't know. Hater.
The reason I say that is because I think we're going to be past the Death Riders by the time we get there. I think Darby's going to come back between Double or Nothing. And I think we're probably going to get I don't know if it's going to be Hanger or if it's going to be Ospreay. We don't know yet. And it's really hard to call.
It's a toss-up.
But I think it's going to be one of them versus Darby, which is going to allow for Tony to main event that show. And that's how I think it's going to be.
I think that See, I'm trying to think like Tony would think. And I'm thinking that if you're putting this much faith in Moxley for this long run, I don't think you can end it anywhere but All In.
But
Besides, I think they're probably going to go with Anarchy in the Arena at Double or Nothing. So unless he drops the belt on a random Dynamite or Collision, which could happen, but like I don't see it happening.
no,
I don't think they've not.
I just don't see them
once.
like making Darby wait 4 extra months after coming back, or making him wait 4 months to come back. You know, like
yeah,
I don't.
No,
I don't,
God, no.
I don't think. And if he's going to be the next world champion, which is what we all assume,
here's my take on it. I think that if I was booking it and I was convinced that Darby was the next guy to hold it, you've already exhausted the Christian Cage cash in, so that's off the table.
Yep.
So there goes my original idea, if you remember. That totally obliterates that.
Yeah.
I think that Moxley. I think that what you do is you have Hangman Page win the Owen.
Okay.
And then you have MJF take him out halfway through All In. Because he cannot stand the fact that Hanger is going to get there, or at least get the opportunity before him. Because remember, they had this ongoing thing where it's like, you're going to choke. I think if it was up to me, I would be like, have Hangman build so much momentum going into All In that it would be completely undeniable, unthinkable that he wouldn't win the belt, to the point where even the other characters on the show see it as an inevitability, which would give MJF the impetus to attack him midway through All In.
Okay.
Have him be escorted out on a stretcher. Have it be made clear to the audience in attendance that Hangman will not be there. Have Mox by the main event. They still don't have a replacement. Have Mox go out there with the Death Riders in the main event and demands that he either get a new opponent or win by forfeit. And that's when you have the Death Riders get taken out somehow. Probably by whoever, probably by the Ops. I bet they'll still be at odds with each other at this point.
Yeah.
And then have TK come out and say, I'm not going to let these fans down. I promised them a main event. I promised them that you were going to defend the world title, and I'm going to give that to them. You can keep Marina at ringside, by the way, because she has the briefcase, and they're going to need to open the briefcase at the end of this.
Yeah.
So I managed to procure somebody as a backup because I kind of had a feeling something like this would happen, and I didn't want to let anything disrupt my show in such a big way.
Right.
So I have another guy ready to face you, and that's when you bring out Darby, and that's when you have Darby squash Jon Moxley, absolutely freaking destroy him, beat him. Like, if you have to make it so that, like, before the bell rings, he beats him to death with the skateboard that he's got thumbtacks on or whatever, make it a bloody spectacle. Like, you could do, like, the whole match be, like, just an extended hardcore squash match simply because it happens before the bell rings, and then he rolls him in the ring, the bell rings, he hits him with a coffin drop, and it's over.
Now,
and then you headline Forbidden Door the next month with him versus Ospreay, because it's in London.
Well,
and then the story there would be like, what I asked you once you were done with the Don Callis family to go after the Death Riders, and what do? You enter the Owen. You don't go right after them. You do. You're Will frickin' Ospreay. You could have challenged for the title at any time you wanted, but you wanted to go through your little tournament instead of doing what's right for the company and going after these pieces of trash that have held us all hostage for the better part of 3/4 of a year. No, you don't challenge me. I'm challenging you, Ospreay, on your home turf in London. I want to defend this against you because if it couldn't have been me, it should have been you, and you had to be selfish. You had to be ego driven.
Like, I can't argue with your logic, but at the same time, that entails us waiting 4 more months for Darby Allin to show up, and dealing with this. Or
All In is in early July.
Oh, it is. Yeah,
we are in May, sir.
Oh, God.
We are in May.
Okay. Yeah, I keep operating on the pretext that it's in August because what did in August last year?
Forbidden Doors in August.
Instead,
usually Forbidden Doors before All In. That's why they switched it around this year.
Yeah, so All In was in August last year.
All In was in August last year, yes, but it's in early
that's
July.
Why it's like that in my head still.
Yeah.
I don't have tickets. I'm not looking at the date every day, you know.
I think he's scheduled to come back from Everest before Double or Nothing, but not soon enough that he would be acclimated to like living at sea level again.
Probably not.
You know? So I think that I think that the way I have a fantasy booked in my head would make sense for me. But I have no idea what TK is going to do. I think it only makes sense. The only thing that makes sense is to have Darby be the guy because he already kind of put a pin in that by having Mox say to his face, "You will never be a world champion." Well, now he's got to. Now he's got to do it. And he's got to do it by beating Moxley. He's got to be the guy to do it. I am going to stand by that until I am proven wrong when somebody beats Moxley beforehand. And even then, I'm going to reserve my judgment because there's always a chance that they could do a quick title change back to Moxley.
Yeah.
So, like, until I'm proven unequivocally wrong, I'm going to stand by my prediction that Darby is the next guy to win. But I think the only way to get there is to screw over whoever wins the Owen and, and have their title shot be cashed in later down the line.
Yeah. I don't know. It's got to be done at All In, though. It has to. It has to be done, man. Like, it's just wearing people out at this point. I mean, I'm starting to get to the point where it's like, it's really odd to not see the World Championship.
I know.
Ever.
It's really strange. You only ever see it on the graphics.
Yeah. It's just real strange, man.
But anyway, that's stuff that wasn't on Collision. You know what was on Collision? A weird $100,000 4-way where Kevin Knight for $100,000.
Well, I mean, yeah, but
for no reason.
What for? I mean,
because Tony likes throwing money.
Tony likes to throw money out, I guess. Like, this will make like $800,000 he's given away in the past like couple.
For real. Kevin Knight versus Roosh versus AR Fox versus Sammy Guevara, making the last appearance that Sammy Guevara had. He was, who was it? He randomly challenged. Was it Ospreay?
Something like that.
It wasn't Ospreay.
Maybe Daniel.
Was it Omega?
Maybe. I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen him.
No, it should have been it would have been a heel, I think. But it's been several months, and then before that, it was several months.
Yeah.
But Sammy Guevara wins this out of nowhere. Like, he does it, and then he it was fun. Like, you had Roosh and Kevin Knight. They're fighting to the back, so it looks like Knight might be going in a direction now, which is good. Also, Roosh going in a direction that doesn't involve any freaking other luchadors. That's new.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sammy pins AR Fox. Like, I hate to see my boy Fox getting the pins like that, but I'm glad he's on TV.
Yeah.
But yeah, this was a nice, they kind of paired off. They did some stuff. Blah, blah, blah. Roosh and Kevin Knight fight to the back. I thought they were going to come back, but they didn't. Because I saw this on paper. I'm like, oh, Roosh is taking this.
Yeah, I thought so too. Actually, I was like, oh, they're gonna
Like
get Roosh to win.
given their relative positioning, I thought Roosh for sure was taking this. But the least likely guy, like I thought even AR Fox had a better chance of winning this match than Sammy Guevara
Yeah,
because we haven't seen Sammy on AEW television in quite a while. Uh, but he gets the nod. He hits the go to hell after reversing a swanton from Fox, and then he points over at Adam Cole sitting on commentary and makes the belt gesture. If he were to win the TNT title, that would be a record-setting fourth reign for Sammy Guevara.
yeah.
Um, it was out of nowhere, but I didn't hate it. Tracy and I looked at each other. We're like, Sammy Guevara won.
Yeah, I was just like,
What?
what? Katie was like, did Sammy Guevara just win the match?
It was nice to be surprised.
Yeah, it was.
Like, it was really nice to just kind of have, like, I mean, it like I said, there was no setup for it at all. But like sometimes that's refreshing. I
Yeah.
actually kind of enjoyed that. Um uh earlier there was a backstage promo with Mox kind of doing one of his promos. You know the deal. Oh, you don't think you know what you're doing, blah blah blah. You think you know I'm so tough.
I'm a
Oh, you
bad
think
fan.
you think I'm locked in here with you, you're locked in here with me, Rorschach stuff, like that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. And then here you have Samoa Joe answering that with his own thing, saying basically, you don't understand. You don't understand. It's me. It's me, Samoa Joe. You don't understand. It's like it was well executed, but it wasn't like groundbreaking. I know I say that a lot. That's like basically a catchphrase. Oh, it wasn't about groundbreaking. But like, I mean, it's true. Like, I don't care about the promos for these two anymore. I just want to see them beat the tar out of each other inside the cage.
Yeah.
Like, you've sold me already. I don't need these promos about who's got the bigger sack.
Yeah.
Like, and then we got a match that was almost as surprising as Sammy Guevara winning. Harley Cameron versus Megan Bayne. And I gotta tell you, Harley Cameron got more offense in on Megan Bayne in this match than Toni Storm did in her match with Megan Bayne.
Yeah, I think so too. Yeah.
Like, Harley showed up. She was like, "Oh, I'm getting in the ring with the Megasis. Oh, I better I better make the most of it." And I feel like she did. They structured the match in such a way as to make her look like she actually had a chance, even though we all know she didn't.
Yeah.
Like, oh no, they really put over Harley's toughness there. Like, she kicked out of a lot of high impact stuff from Bane there.
Yeah.
Falcon Arrow. There was the flying clothesline that she does. A huge power bomb she kicked out of. I mean, Fate's Descent eventually, seals the deal. But like, it was, and Penelope barely even needed to interfere. I think she only interfered once during this entire thing.
Yeah.
Afterwards, they beat her up some more until Anna Jay comes out. She had issues last week with Megan Bayne, and apparently, according to commentary, Harley said that she was going to, I believe the phrase used was, "I'm going to back up your fat ass, Anna Jay." So that was the reason Harley Cameron got this match in the first place, was to back up Anna Jay's fat ass. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good enough.
I mean, it's Harley Cameron. Do you think you're going to get a more sensible answer from her?
Absolutely not.
I wouldn't have it any other way either.
Nope.
She's a joy.
Yeah.
She's an absolute gem. Like,
Yeah.
what is it about all these Australians that they just produce such great, freaking entertaining professional wrestlers?
No idea, but it's great.
Miss you, Buddy Matthews. Come back soon. Get well.
Yeah.
Brody King versus Josh Alexander was next. You talk about this. I'm dominating this conversation. And I feel bad about it.
Man, Brody versus Josh Alexander was a freaking slugfest, man. This was probably, I mean, to be honest, this is probably my favorite match on the show.
It was good.
It was really good. Really great psychology with, Alexander trying to overcome the size difference by, working the leg and trying to get the submissions and everything. And just, it was just really hard hitting. Like they were just really killing it like the whole time. And
he got him up in the torture rack at one point.
Yeah.
Holy crow.
I continue to be further impressed with Josh Alexander.
Yeah.
But I think the real story here is that we're going to get this again because, they called out 5 minutes left in the TV time. And then they ended up going to a draw, and it looked like Brody had it won, but Alexander pulled a complete veteran move and just rolled out of the ring, which good on him for that. But also, we ended the contest. It's a draw. So we're going to get more of this. And I think that's my favorite part of it is that like, it was so hard hitting. It was such a good match. Brody King doesn't get to be like over, like he's been taking some L's lately, but he doesn't get to be like evenly matched that often. Like it's got to be like a come from under win or a fluke thing or somebody cheated or something like that. With Josh Alexander, like they're evenly matched to a point that like it's interesting, and it's interesting enough that we're going to do it again. And
I wouldn't have called it either.
No, I wouldn't have called it. I definitely didn't call this going to a draw.
No,
I thought
this was a show full of surprises, wasn't
it? It kind of was. Yeah. So, I mean, it was just so hard hitting though. That's the main takeaway from it is that these guys were basically brutalizing each other and all for our enjoyment. And it was really enjoyable. So, I mean, it goes to show, I mean, we're making some good picks here, but like Josh Alexander, I didn't know how it was going to work out in the Don Callis family. It looks like it's working out good, especially with the after match thing where, we get Lance Archer involved, but he gets just covered up in security guards by Brody King. And
it was so good.
God, everything was
so creative.
Dude, I love it. I love it a lot. So, I mean, I can't wait for round 2. I know we're going to get one now. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. There's a video package for Crew. It wasn't much. It was just based. I mean, it was well produced. I'll say that. Their video packages are really well produced. I like the aesthetics of them. The cinematography and all that. But they basically just kind of went to top
flight. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a really well produced.
I don't know if that's over now, and I'm like, I don't know what to feel about that. On the one hand, I want it to be over because it's been going on for so long, but the matches have been really good.
Yeah, the matches are great. I wouldn't
hate seeing the matches again. I'm tired of the story, so I don't know where I stand.
Yeah.
I want to say move on for now, but eventually they're gonna have to pull the trigger on Top Flight and move them up the rankings in that division. Like it. They're consistently over. They consistently produce really good work. I don't see why they haven't gotten out of that like low to mid tier, status in the tag team division.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they continue to hold like that either. It's really weird, especially with the work rate that they're putting in. It's very good.
Next is the Open Challenge, the Max Caster Open Challenge. And he takes inspiration from the draw that Brody King and Josh Alexander went through, and it's like who can go 5 with the best wrestler alive. So he puts a 5-minute timer on the clock. They already have a graphic, so I don't really buy that this was off the cuff. But whatever. And then he gets visibly upset when Danny Garcia answers the challenge.
Yeah.
Danny, who pummels him and beats him in literally a minute. It's like a bunch of punches, a bunch of kicks, a bunch of chops, a spinning neck breaker, a shotgun drop kick, and a pile driver. That's about all there was to this match.
Yeah.
But God bless him, Max Caster sold facing Danny Garcia like it was a death sentence. Like, thank God for Max Caster. I'm thoroughly enjoying this whole gimmick where he gets the crap kicked out of him, but still maintains he's the best wrestler alive. Like, I didn't think I was gonna enjoy this much, but now I look forward to it every week. Oh, who's gonna beat up Max Caster this week? Um, After the match, Garcia got on the microphone as a message to FTR. He says, "You handle your business, and after that, you and I are gonna have words." So, there's gonna be a post main event angle.
Yeah.
We go from one member of the Acclaim to the other, where Daddy Ass is backstage with Anthony Bowens, who again hits the 5-tool player thing. But here's Blake Christian and Shotty Lee Johnson. And oh my gosh, they're getting TV time that's not consisting of them getting their butts kicked. This is great. This is great. Good for y'all. Good for y'all. Blake wants it what's it called? Shotty says that you didn't beat Blake, but I saw enough of your stuff in the match to know that I could beat you. If given another go around. So they make that for, I think it was this coming week's Collision, if I'm not mistaken. I think they gave that one a week.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, seeing Vanilla Baby on my TV, I'll always take that. Shotty Lee, I haven't seen him on AEW TV in like literally years.
Yeah.
Like, he's been down in ROH grinding, doing the thing. It must be so lonely to be part of that Codyverse and not have Cody there anymore.
Right.
He's just been grinding though, so I'm looking forward to that match too, because I bet that will over deliver, just like Bowens over delivered with who was it that he beat recently? Shoot. It was Blake Christian. Duh.
Yeah.
Over delivered there. That match was a sleeper hit of the night. So Gates of Agony are back. So they didn't, even though they got destroyed by the Hurt Business 2 weeks ago, it didn't put them on the shelf for a month like it did the Outrunners. So there's at least that. And they just destroyed 2 guys. One of them was named Ray Jazz.
Yeah.
Ray Jazz. What a name. What a hero. Congrats to you, sir. Fantastic name. Toliona, whoever the other guy was, though, he gets pounced over the top rope.
Yeah.
He just like, whoa. He's like, well, I'm only going to take one bump, so I'm going to make it count.
Right? Everybody's going to remember that
Good
one.
on you. I hope you didn't break anything.
Yeah, no shit. Probably sore today.
But yeah, Gates of Agony wrapped this up easily. And then Big Bill and Brian Keith show up on the big screen, say, hey, we challenged you. We're in the parking garage. We're not going to go to you. You come to us. So we get a parking lot brawl. And Tracy, if you talk to Tracy, my wife, she will absolutely corroborate this. I got really excited for the parking lot stuff. I kind of love parking lot stuff. Like, it I don't know why even. I just think it's a cool place to have a fight on TV.
Yeah.
Like, I think, you know what I think it is? I think it reminds me of, like, probably the very first memory of any kind of hardcore type match that I ever watched was, it was like on Saturday night or something, WCW Saturday night, and it was Fit Finley versus Lord Steven Regal.
Yeah.
And I remember the finish. They had a parking lot brawl that was crazy. It was my, like, 5-year-old mind or whatever it was, maybe 8. I think it was probably a little older than that. It was like 7 or 8. 8-year-old mind was blown. I'd never seen anything like that before. He tombstoned Regal on the hood of a car.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
So I think that's the genesis of my love for parking lot, parking garage stuff. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So they meet them out there, and it's okay.
Mm,
Kind of awkward, actually. There was
yeah.
some weird cinematography. They didn't catch it all. Like, it seemed like people were just throwing stuff randomly into the air for no reason.
Yeah. It was.
It could have been. I was kind of disappointed. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
Like, I love parking lot, parking garage stuff, but this was a little weird. Um,
Agreed.
like, when you could see everybody interacting physically, it was fine. It was when, like, only one of them was on camera, and it was supposed to be like throwing stuff at other people, but clearly they weren't. Like, it just it was kind of disappointing. Um, Security breaks this up. There's no real declared like winner or whatever. No clear, whatever. So I imagine we'll get a real match out of these two at some point, probably next week on Collision. And then the main event. It was a 2 out of 3 falls match. FTR versus the Paragon. And like most 2 out of 3 matches involving FTR, this freaking ruled.
Yeah. It was really good, man.
Yeah. You want to talk about
Man, okay, so like the pure athleticism of like Kyle O'Reilly and Roddy Strong, fully on display here. Um, FTR in their heel role, acting as brutally as possible, and I love that for them. Like I love when the team who reminds me of Arn and Tully gets to act like Arn and Tully. Like
it?
it's always very wonderful, and when they have a team that is smaller but athletically gifted, like Paragon is, I think it made for just like a really amazing match. I don't think it quite evoked as much emotion from me as say, FTR and, like the Briscoes. But those
Yeah.
were like ladder matches and stuff, like, along with the 2 or 3 falls. Like they went a little more all out in those matches because they were pay-per-view matches than they are gonna do on TV, obviously. But this was just art. It was just high art. It was like the best kind of like power versus athleticism
And technique.
and technique. 4 guys who are individually and together as tag teams incredibly good wrestlers, and 4 guys who are all well versed in the psychology of what brings a good match. And they brought them all together, and where sometimes you can have all good ingredients and come out with something bad, they just killed it on every level.
Yeah.
I mean, from near falls and who's going to get this next one to just how the match was laid out itself to the actual action. It was just balls to the wall. Amazing. It was everything I want. Like when I want a 2 out of 3 falls match, like um my old like younger days kind of fed head and old like 80s wrestling head, like a 2 out of 3 falls match could have been a boring affair, 45 minutes of just this was not
Yeah.
that. This was not that. This
Nope.
is what a 2 out of 3 falls match should be. Once again,
In the
returning to
modern
this,
era,
well,
absolutely.
yeah, if you are a young wrestler and you are studying tape, study this tape. Study this tape. This is how you do a wrestling match. This is 3 matches for you to watch.
Yeah.
And they were good.
The
FTR wins.
psychology of it was fantastic.
Yeah. FTR wins.
The story of the falls was great.
Oh yeah, yeah. They put everything together so fluidly. It was just so nice. But I mean, okay, so FTR takes the win. I don't think Paragon loses anything in that because they showed out really hard and they did get a fall. It wasn't like a 2-0.
They got a fall by submission.
Yeah. So
they got the fall by submission, and then the final fall was done by cheating because there was an eye rake, and that was after Kyle got Cash to tap out, even though so that would have been the second fall, except Cash wasn't legal.
Yeah.
So like there's plausible deniability, everybody's protected.
Yeah. So I don't think they lose anything from it.
No, God, no.
I'm not sure how much FTR gains, though. I mean, this was a great match. Both teams, are gained something from it, but like I don't know. I don't know where this goes from here. I don't know if it goes anywhere from here. But I also am like, why wouldn't they have a match at like Double or Nothing? Because this was good. So it's like, why wouldn't we do it again? But also at the same time, why would we do this again? I'm struggling a little with the storyline that's attached to this wonderful match.
Well,
because all the
I'm
matches in
thinking
like
there
this
might-
whole thing have been good, but it's just
I think maybe there's a clue in what happened afterwards.
okay.
Because Danny Garcia's music hits afterwards, and he comes out with Crowbar again, and he says he wants to beat them over the head with it, but at the end of the day, he still feels like he owes them for being there when everybody else had kind of abandoned him. Every setback that he had and all the stuff, FTR had already been there, so he still has a mad love for them, even if it's complicated. But after what they did to Cope, and after what they did to 2.0, he's looking for answers. So he challenges one of them to a match. It doesn't matter whether it's Cash or Dax. He wants one of them next week.
Well, if it's Dax, he's gonna win.
Yeah, Dax doesn't. The only singles match I've ever seen Dax win was against Cash.
Good Cash. Yeah.
So, I think that they turn Danny heel and have him align with FTR, and they go after Paragon because he thinks FTR will be ruthless enough to get his TNT title back from Adam Cole.
That's fair. I hope that's how it goes because I really need something to get me more interested in this. The matches are fucking wonderful. Let's keep doing them all day long.
Yeah.
I'm just not that interested in the storyline. So I need something to kick it off. And also, if ands or buts with Stokely, but but still, I like both teams and they're having great matches. But I need something more in the storyline. This seems very, it's too loose. They need to tighten it up. They need something. They need something to tighten it.
What is the next step?
Yeah, where are we going? If it's Danny Garcia joining and we're gonna have trio stuff, okay. But it's kind of the same problem we were having during the Danny Garcia TNT title run, where it's like you're the TNT champion, but we're doing a bunch of trio stuff and you're not defending the TNT title. So
yeah,
I'd like to see more Adam Cole wrestling. Like I think that's what put me off about him being on commentary the most is that it's like, you're a champion. You should be competing. Why are you on commentary all night long? And I'm like, did he injure himself again? And we're just going to give him a nice reign?
I think it was a way to get him involved in multiple storyline threads throughout the night without him having to constantly make his entrance or whatever. Because, something we didn't talk about was that Mox came out afterwards, after Samoa Joe's video, to cut another promo.
Yeah.
Did you really want Adam Cole to be constantly coming out after that to address all this stuff? Like with Sammy Guevara, with all this stuff. I don't want to see that back and forth with one guy, let alone two.
Right.
So I think having him out there for commentary probably solved that issue because he was already there. He was established that he was going to be there all night. All you had to do was point at him or gesture to him. He was there calling the main event that had his stablemates and friends in it. So I think that was probably just a way to get him involved in multiple things at once without having to move him.
Without having to use the minutes to keep him back and forth.
Right.
Yeah. I could see that. Because his interest is like crowd dependent and crowd interactive. So doing it over and over again would just cost minutes.
Yeah.
Precious minutes.
Yep.
Especially with this
If they
show, because
were
it was like
only
jam packed, man. It was just like
yeah, if they were only streaming on Max, they probably wouldn't give a crap. But
yeah,
like, yeah, they're still on TBS or
yeah.
TNT rather. So,
But yeah, I mean,
all
Collision
right,
was really good, man. It was.
yeah, I thought so too. Like again, a much different flavor of AEW on Collision than Dynamite this week. Like more Collision, you tend to see more of the mid to lower card acts being featured, which is kind of nice. It's more wrestling focused. And they move storylines along, sure, but it's much more, about the in ring content than on Dynamite. I mean, you can just see that by the number of matches that are there.
Yeah,
You know, um, more squash matches, sure, but
yeah.
that just means more people are getting established, which isn't a bad thing.
No,
So, yeah, I mean, I like Collision a lot as its standalone character as a show. Like it different enough from Dynamite, whereas like something like Raw or SmackDown never really feel all that much different from each other. The players are different for the most part, but like it doesn't really feel like a different show because it's like the same kind of people writing it like over and over. There's a very different, purposeful, a different feel on Collision,
yeah,
and I appreciate that.
yeah, for
It
sure.
makes it feel like even though they're not treating them as like a brand, brands to be split from one another, that there's something for everybody in AEW. You just need to know when to tune in.
Yeah, they're two distinctive shows, and I like that a lot. So it just gives me,
All right.
it gives a lot of flavors each week. So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, me too. I'm a flavor whore. All right. Well, I guess there's only one thing left to do then, huh?
Yeah, they do like the pros do and call it in the ring. All right, for our last piece of what is going to be WWE centric content, we are going to go over this week's releases for the WWE for our call it in the ring segment. Mainly because there are some interesting names on the list, and also just to kind of see what we might get out of these people in the future as far as wrestling goes, because most of, if not all of these names still definitely belong in wrestling.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that's fair to say. I mean, to be fair, like half of them are NXT names that I'm not really familiar with, but I can't imagine that doesn't apply to them.
Yeah, a lot of them have a ton of promise. So I mean, but some of the NXT ones, even with the limited amount I watch NXT, I'm not familiar with them either. So, some of them we might not have much to say about, and we'll just kind of have to see how their future plays out. But other ones, I have some definite theories on I think where we're gonna see them next, or what happens from here. Um, so, um, I guess we could start with the NXT people. And I'll just say, Danny Palmer, Javier Bernal, Oro Men. Okay, now I don't know who either of those two people. That Danny and Javier, I don't know who they are.
Yeah, I don't know who those people are
I'm
either.
not sure who they are. Oro Mensa, I think, was part of this meta group that had Jakara Jackson in it also, and Lash Legend and someone else.
Jakara got released.
Jakara also got
Along,
released.
yeah.
But as far as Oro Mensa goes, I don't know who that is really, because I think he's been injured the whole time I've been like looking at NXT, or anytime I look into it, he hasn't really been there. Wolfgang, Mark Coffey, and Joe Coffey. I also don't know who
Gallus.
these people are.
I know about Gallus. I actually kind of like Gallus. They're a bunch of Scottish boys, Scottish roughnecks. Wolf, I remember them from NXT UK. The Coffees are okay. Joe is kind of probably the more interesting one. He had a little bit more of a personality, a little bit better on the stick. Wolfgang was probably the biggest physically out of any of the NXT UK dudes. he was probably about 6'2" and somewhere probably around 300 pounds. But his finisher was still a swanton off the top.
Oh, geez.
Like, yeah, like the dude. I thought the dude was pretty good, all things considered. Um, I I remember they got called up to when they basically got rid of NXT UK. They were some of the people that they still retained. Um, I think I remember seeing clips of them when the TNA relationship was first being formed, and Joe Hendry was showing up a lot before he won the belt,
Uh-huh.
and they did not like him. They did not like him showing up. They really hated his that was where Joe Coffey shined too. He's really good at looking really really angry and frustrated. Like he just has this face that's very expressive and emotive, and I like that. Uh, Other than that though, I think they were tag champs at one point, but other than that, like it didn't really seem like they had any interest in ever pushing them out. I mean, I can't remember the last time I heard about them even having a match and winning.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Yeah.
um, I'm sure though. I mean, the UK scene has rebounded finally a little bit from speaking out and from NXT just gutting the scene with the UK brands that ultimately didn't even work out. Um, I think that they'll probably if I had to guess, I think they'll probably go back to the UK indie scene, and that's probably where they'll stay.
Yeah, probably. The next on the list that I see is Riley Osborne. I also don't know who this person is.
I don't know who that is.
And then the next person on the list after that is Jakara Jackson. Now I know who that is. She was tag team partner with Lash Legend. They had the it factor. Now I know WWE's women's tag team division isn't really that great, but I don't know why they would release her. I feel like this is one. Now I don't have like a specific prediction or a place where she could pop up and fit into things, but I feel like this is one that Tony should definitely um snatch up. Like she has the it
Yeah.
factor. Let's bring her in, somebody should definitely be employing her on the national level. Um she's just very good. You know, so moving on from there, Eddie Thorpe. I don't really know too much about him either. I don't really know
Was
too much about
he?
Eddie Thorpe.
Was he? Isn't he like married to one of these other women who got released? Or I think Gigi Dolan is engaged to him, right?
Maybe they are.
I
I don't
want to
really know
say
much about her either. So
Gigi was known previously as uh, Priscilla Kelly. I think I want to say
mhm.
Priscilla Kelly, something like that. I'm gonna look it up because uh, I want to be right on this. Yeah, Priscilla Kelly. Uh, she worked. I believe she worked the original All In, if I'm not mistaken.
The
Um,
name sounds familiar. Maybe.
uh, or not the original All In, the original All Out, rather. Um, yeah, the first All Out, she was in the Casino Battle Royal. Uh, and then she showed up on one episode of Dynamite, but lost to Britt Baker. She was formerly married to Darby Allin, and they broke up. I think they were only married for like 2 years. They were married really, really young. I think that probably had a lot to do with it. According to her Wikipedia page, and this could be, I mean, it's still Wikipedia, so who knows? But apparently, they're still on good terms. So apparently, she said that on Vicky Guerrero's podcast. Um, but who knows? What I know her probably most from is she had a little bit of a viral moment in 2019, using a Hell's Favorite Harlot gimmick. She she took out from her
Oh gosh, I know
trunks
what you're talking about. That's
the bloody
her?
tampon. That's her. And she shoved it in the girl's mouth. I
that
remember that because it was very, very controversial.
it,
Um, and I thought for sure, well, say goodbye to WWE having interest in you. And then she got signed anyway, probably because this was 2021 and they were snatching up anybody that AEW didn't already have that had any kind of buzz.
yeah.
She would be put with the Toxic Attraction. Um, you know, it was. She was in the second Mae Young Classic too. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
But she lost against Deanna in the first round.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like she was in Toxic Attraction with Mandy Rose and who was the other one? JC Jane.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Apparently she'd been doing some stuff. Like she'd been involved in storylines and stuff, but I guess they just decided to cut her. I don't know. I If she's still on good terms with Darby Allin and it wouldn't cause backstage drama, I could see TK picking her up in a heartbeat. Honestly,
It's possible. Um the next one is Cora Jade, which this is the one that got me for NXT because she has been at the forefront of the NXT women's division and even up on SmackDown and Raw occasionally for like the past 2 years or so, at least. Like she's a name that I've heard a lot, even when I'm not watching NXT. Um, has the look, the it factor, can wrestle, can work a mic. I'm not sure why they got rid of her. I think this might be one of the more egregious ones, actually, because definitely like a major player in the NXT Women's Championship scene and suddenly just gone, like just out of nowhere. So I don't know what's going on with that one. The one,
I know what dropped today about her.
what was that?
Okay, so I guess she made it known that okay, so she and Gigi both clapped back at I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Russell Votes or one of the big Twitter accounts that reposts basically uh, news that other people put forth, and they had posted a quote from Meltzer saying that what he heard was that the word on uh, some of these releases were that they were not as dedicated as they could be. That the word floating around was lazy, and Gigi Dolan clapbacks is like, excuse me, no. I'm working for both NXT. I was working for both NXT and TNA. I was on both of those shows. I was, in the ring 3 to 4 times a week. I was working out every day. Nobody's calling me lazy. And
Yeah.
then Cora Jade chimed in apparently, and she said something to the effect of, "Yeah, I agree with you. Also, yeah, I don't want to hear about how lazy I was when those same people who were apparently saying that I'm lazy were constantly judging and body shaming me throughout my entire tenure there."
Oh, gosh.
Which, I mean, if you want to add fuel to the fire of the people who are already on the anti WWE train in regards to their backstage culture, this is just going to be more kindling on that fire.
Yeah. To that effect, one of the just another thing that piled on. They had New Day sit in and watch a tag match this week, and it was I'm trying to think of who was in the tag match. It was War Raiders and somebody else, and they basically fat shamed Ivar the entire match. That's all they did. It was terrible. Yeah,
That's
it was
like,
very uncomfortable and stupid.
what in the Vince?
Yeah, It was
Come
awful, dude.
on,
It was
guys.
it made me
They were,
uncomfortable. And I was like, if this guy heard you talking like this and this was like a real life, like these were real fighters, he would beat the brakes off of you.
you know what? Knowing those guys, I bet that they smartened up the War Raiders that was going to happen,
I hope so.
because that seems like the kind of thing that they wouldn't tell War Raiders beforehand.
Yeah. I
Like,
hope so.
it's just,
It's just it was bad for
but
me.
yeah, like knowing the people that New Day are, like they're some stand up guys with integrity. I bet that they didn't want to do it and they were just doing what their boss told them to do. But if I were a betting man, I would put money on them at least going to check and see if the War Raiders were smartened up about this beforehand.
Yeah.
And if they weren't smartening them up, okay, look, here's what they want us to do. I'm sorry.
Yeah. But yeah. Moving
Knowing them, I mean they're like notoriously some of the good guys, you know.
Yeah.
Xavier Woods' X-ray tape notwithstanding.
But yeah, so moving on. The next two names are Caden Carter and Katana Chance. And this is where my first prediction comes in, because I think, like we've been saying for the last like 6 months here on the show, Tony Khan is quietly putting together a women's tag division. I've been beginning to see people more on social media mention this, like, oh, hey, these are a pair, and this is a pair, and this is a pair, and oh, they just slyly put those girls together, and people are starting to put it together that there may be a women's tag division on the way. I think Caden Carter and Katana Chance already being a tag team, and both being very good wrestlers, make perfect candidates. And so them showing up at some point in the next year after we've announced a women's tag team division, I think probably a good chance of that. Even if it's just a 1 or 2 off, but like what they'll do with some people, or if they're going to hire them on a permanent basis because they are actually a tag team that they won't have to go and put together. They're already a tag team.
They're already a package deal.
Yeah. So the next one is Dakota Kai.
This one bugged me.
I don't understand why they did this
Dakota.
one. And I do like Dakota, but I also don't believe that Dakota has, I don't know if she's a skilled enough cook for the AEW kitchen. Let's just put it that way.
I don't know. I think she'd be a solid mid-card hand.
Yeah, but
floating around there in the TBS scene.
Yeah, but in a kind of already bloated women's roster that is where the TBS scene itself is ruled by Mercedes Moné, at least to this point, and will be ruled by Athena directly thereafter. I just don't. I'm not advocating for her not to be hired. Go ahead and do it. I mean, I'm sure he will. But this is the one that I'm like, I don't really have much of a prediction for her, even though I liked her. Just because since returning from her injury, I don't feel like she's been performing like she was before. And I also don't think that she's found her stride in performing, post-injury, as it were. Also, as I understand it, because I didn't watch her whole WWE career, she is injury prone. That's a pretty, that's definitely something that a promoter is going to take into consideration.
Yeah, fair or not.
Now, does she deserve a job? Yeah. I'm not advocating for her not to get hired somewhere. She'd be a good fit anywhere. TNA, AEW, wherever. But ROH, maybe. Put her in ROH. Yeah. Hire her, put her in ROH. Let her run around the ROH women's division and get that stride back, and then we'll see. But for now, no real prediction for her. Just hopefully she lands somewhere good. The next one is Shayna Baszler. They have fumbled her so hard. If we want,
she was so good in NXT.
Yeah,
like she was the Brock Lesnar of NXT's women's division.
Yeah,
like that's what she was. Except she Except her matches were more interesting.
Yeah. Now, who better? Here's prediction number 2. Who better than to challenge the brand new TBS champion Athena than somebody who can unequivocally hit as hard as she can?
And who has history with her.
Has history with her, yes. So
I will add to this by saying that there are multiple avenues that you could go with this, because I liked one I saw in Blue Sky. I saw one person put forth an idea of her being paired with the Ops and having her face off against
Marina?
her old friend Marina.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Like,
okay,
they have history. They're very good friends. You know, the 4 horsewomen of MMA and everything like that.
Yeah.
There's that. There are multiple avenues that you can take with Shayna, not just because of her previous affiliations, but also she's an incredible talent.
Yeah.
On her own merits. How they fumbled her on her main roster call up so badly. I thought for sure as soon as Triple H took the book, that they were going to find something for Shayna to do, and they have done nothing. And they had her. They threw her a bone by having her have her write Ronda Rousey off TV in a match that they seemed to want but couldn't really pull off because the concept is weird. Scripted MMA is always going to look weird.
Yeah.
And it's not really going to appeal to a pro wrestling audience.
No.
Either.
No.
Like there's some overlap. I know plenty of people who like both MMA and pro wrestling, but putting MMA on pro wrestling is always weird, and it does not generally appeal to the majority of fans who come to watch wrestling in person.
Right.
That being said, like they had nothing else for her after that. Like she was barely on TV.
Yeah.
And when she was usually getting beat. Like, how is the juggernaut of NXT, who made her main roster debut by opening up a wound on Becky Lynch with her teeth and then running through an entire Elimination Chambers participants by herself in succession? How do you fumble that?
I don't know, but they managed to do it, and I think that if Tony,
they should have just had her go. They should have just had her go over Becky at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they probably knew that Lynch was probably leaving at that point, because it wasn't long after that she announced that she was pregnant and she was going to have to leave anyway.
Yeah. I think they should have had her go over, but I mean, I think that just, a little bit of artistic freedom, a good foil like Marina Shafir, make her a face, and cherry on top Tony. Okay? For whoever in AEW is listening to this, so you can help us make our case directly to Tony Khan. Her nickname is the Ace, or the Ace of Spades, or something like that, and boy do we know Tony loves to we know Tony loves to collect people with Ace in their nickname. So let's get on that. Okay? Cuz I mean, real okay, first of all, I love Willow versus Marina. That's okay with me. Just being who she is, the everlasting face and all that. But let's have Marina Shafir be face down by somebody she absolutely knows can house her.
Yeah.
Like, let's bring, like,
I want to see the fear in Marina Shafir's eyes.
Yeah.
That's what I
like. She goes to help Moxley, and suddenly Shayna Baszler appears, and Marina Shafir's like,
she hightails it.
She runs.
I want to see her. Like, can you imagine the reaction from the crowd if Marina Shafir, who has been the right hand of the evil god king of AEW, hightails it as soon as she sees this woman?
Yeah.
And runs off and abandons the Death Riders in that moment.
Yeah.
Can you, and then on top of that, that Mox will sell her leaving like it's like he got shot in the heart with an arrow.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, at that moment, I want to see that moment.
That one right there.
You want to talk about creating moments? There's a moment right there.
And the next one, This is the last name on the list, but probably the most prominent one of all of them is, of course, Braun Strowman.
Get him out of here.
WWE. Now, hold on a second. Okay, first of all, I don't know why they released him, because he had a series of banger ass brawl all over the arena matches with Bronson Reed before Bronson got hurt. And it was ripe for Bronson's return to go right back into that, even though he had been involved in the second bloodline and their War Games match. That's all kind of over now. So he had like really nothing to come back to except maybe either getting revenge on Seth Rollins, which may still happen, and may put him in a collision course with Braun Breaker, which would be fantastic, or putting him right back into a program with Braun Strowman, because that's who he was kind of feuding with before he took part in War Games. So, like, Braun just, I don't understand why WWE released him. Now, looking at his social media, he's already gone to some tropical place on vacation, and he is completely unbothered by his WWE release. So I don't feel bad that he was released, because he himself apparently is unbothered and does not feel bad about it. Now, here's where the prediction comes in. Now, does Shayna Baszler show up in time to see, to meaningfully take on Marina Shafir and kind of end the Death Riders as we know it? No, because she has a no-compete clause that's going to last until November-ish.
Jeez.
It's like 6 months.
How long?
It's like 6 months or something.
6 months.
6 months for the main roster guys and 3 for NXT, I believe.
I thought it was 90 for the main roster and 30.
Or maybe it is 90 days, but still, I don't think that gives us enough time for All In. That's still August. Okay. So maybe we get her at the ass end of the Death Riders. Still a great moment, but it's not going to be like at that title change moment where it would be the most effective. However, where Braun Strowman can be the most effective, and what would get the biggest reaction out of everybody is, let's say, All Out rolls around, or maybe even Forbidden Door. And it's one of these situations like Forbidden Door often is, where we've got a bunch of people who have matches because they've got matches against the company across the aisle for the Forbidden Door game, thing. But then you've got a bunch of other guys who you want to feature, but you can't. So you do what TK does, and you put a fun match in there. This, of course, being TK's long lost fun match, the Meaty Men Slapping Meat match. And so he gives us a 6-man Meaty Men match, and he doesn't announce that last one. And that last one is Braun Strowman. Because, I mean, come on. Let's get the big meaty guys going. We got Lance Archer. We got Powerhouse.
I do want Meat Madness.
Yes.
I was promised Meat Madness, and I expect Meat Madness.
Yes.
That said, I'm not particularly fond of Braun Strowman as a person. I remember when he first got released in 2020, and he went on social media and he basically, he's one of those guys who, how do I put this? I can't remember exactly how he phrased it, but the gist of it was that he thought that the criticism levied at him by certain members of the WWE universe wasn't fair because he worked and worked and worked. And I'm not saying that he didn't work his butt off, but to completely deny that the only reason you got hired in the first place was because you had a look, to completely deny that is fallacy. And to imply that anybody else could work just as hard as you did and would make it exactly as far as you did if they didn't have your look, which you didn't even do. You were a bodybuilder, but nope. Let's be real here. God gave you that 6'8" frame, buddy. You didn't earn that. You didn't work for it. It was granted you by the genetic lottery. Okay? To this bootstraps mindset that these pricks have and he's one of them. And I just, ever since that moment, I'm like, oh, get this guy out of my sight. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like there have been times where I found him very entertaining. I loved the gimmick where he was just the guy that was lifting cartoonishly heavy stuff and tipping it over. I loved seeing what destruction he was going to cause next, even if it was completely unbelievable. It's like, no one person can flip an ambulance. Get out of here. Did it look awesome? Hell yeah, it did. Did I love it? Hell yeah, I did. But that was before I found out who he was. And he showed his ass on social media. And he showed who he was. And I'm not a fan of who he is. So he can go control his narrative somewhere else. As far as I'm concerned, I'm not going to miss him.
I don't know. There's things about him, man. I feel like he could have something to do in AEW. At least the Meat Madness match. Maybe we get.
He can come in and put. You know what he can do? He can come in and put over every other big man who does nothing but lose when it matters. He can come in and put over Lance Archer. He can come in and put over Brody King. He can come in and put over Big Bill. That's what he can do. He can be the big guy that loses to other big guys.
I mean, that's fair. That's fair. Could he please do it as Brain Strowman, though, instead of Braun? Because that was my favorite gimmick of his.
Brains.
When he like lost, it was either a Rumble, maybe not a Royal Rumble, but like an over the top battle royal or a gauntlet match or somebody lost, and then he came back as Brain. Or he was not allowed to compete, but then he came out as like Braun Strowman wasn't allowed at ringside, so he came out as Brain. I lost my shit when he did that. I thought it was fucking hilarious.
I mean, that tickles the dad joke.
Yeah, yeah. Brain. So the little shit like that, like I mean,
what about the time that he smashed somebody over with a double bass?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like that.
It's like he's too big to smash somebody with a guitar. Yeah, of course we're gonna give him a double bass to smash somebody with.
But it's just like
it was clearly made of plywood, but it doesn't matter because it looked awesome.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I can give Ricochet a pass on his Andrew Tate tweet for, moments that he gives us in AEW. I think I could give, Braun Strowman a pass on being a prick for a little bit, just to get a few moments like that, if anything. Because there have been flashes in his career where I've been highly entertained by the guy. And in this latest round, that shit with Bronson Reed, like, I think he could have a hell of a series of brawls with like Powerhouse or somebody like that. Like, I think it would just be good. Especially because of what he's been doing lately. Just little shit, I mean, it doesn't have to be anything complicated, and he doesn't have to be a champion, but I think especially for the Meat Madness match, like we all want it, and the more meat, the better in that case. And if it's all the guys in AEW who are meaty guys plus Braun Strowman, he's not the one going over. He's just going to show up and be a surprise. So,
it's true.
I mean, and I wouldn't even put it past TK to bring him in just for that and that be it. So, I mean, I'd give it a shot, but I still think the best possible moments with Shayna, I really wish they could figure out some way to circumvent that 90 days. Like
Well, I know that Chelsea, in a Chelsea Green interview with Chris Van Vliet, she said when she got released from WWE, after her first run, that she negotiated with them to end her no compete early by agreeing to not get paid. I mean, because that's all it is. It's like this is, basically 90 days or whatever it is, where we pay you so that you can find another job after those 90 days are up, so that you continue to can support yourself, get your affairs in order if you can't support the lifestyle that you've been afforded,
right?
And get your stuff in order so that you can move on to the next phase. Now, if she's been smart with her money, who's to say that if maybe she talks to Chelsea, who's still on the roster, maybe she saw that interview, inquires about it. It's like maybe I can inquire about that too if I agree to not get paid. Because I think that Hunter would be reticent to allow that to happen because he wouldn't want her to go to AEW and make that kind of impact immediately. But On the other hand, TKO only cares about money.
Yeah.
So you might have a shot there as long as Triple H isn't part of those proceedings.
Yeah. And knowing Tony Khan, he'd be like, "Yeah, we won't pay you for that. We'll wait 2 weeks and we'll pay you everything we owe you." You know,
Yeah.
so you know, I mean, I just
He's a billionaire.
yeah,
He's good for it.
yeah, he's good for it, and she's probably comfy. I imagine she's not stupid. And I mean, making the
She's not
transition as
stupid.
she did from MMA to WWE, conquering in NXT, and then coming to the main roster. I mean, you can't be dumb and just fall into the. I'm sorry, like there's a kind of an overbearing thing from the general public who doesn't watch wrestling that wrestlers are dumb. You can't be dumb and fail upward like that. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that.
No. No.
No, it doesn't.
I mean,
you don't fail upward in the wrestling business by being stupid. You fail
No.
upward by being really good at it despite yourself. But
or
not
at the
by
very
being
least
dumb.
drawing money.
Yeah, you got to.
Being good at it just means that you draw money.
Yeah.
So you can be a stupid person, but be, Sid and fail upward.
Yeah.
Like,
but you can't
come
be
on,
like
bro.
you can't be like this, jock lummox that everybody tries to portray these people as, and especially
No.
people like Shayna, who they don't really know that much about because she's not really out here with her personal life like a lot of wrestlers are.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, we just don't know enough about her personal life to be like, oh, that's a dumb person. I don't think she is. I think she's incredibly smart. So, yeah.
Possible counterpoint, though. Big Damo's famous tweet. I don't know what to tell you. Some wrestlers are just stupid.
That too, as well. Damo doesn't think they're smart, but is Damo smart?
I mean, he married Nikki Cross. So, I mean, that was pretty smart. She's rad. No, she's rad, dude. I love Nikki.
I bet. No, she is super cool, man. I love her characters and everything.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He
was smart.
She's so committed to her role. Everything that she's been given, she just dives right into. And so, yeah, the almost a superhero thing didn't really work. But, I mean, you can't doubt her commitment to it.
It's the way they presented it. It was not her.
I mean, it was the idea was hers apparently.
But I mean, it's the way WWE.
I don't know if it was ever presented the way that she would have.
Yeah, the way WWE presented it did not do it any favors at all.
No,
it just didn't, dude. Especially when they started tagging it like Nikki ASH. Like, okay, she's almost a superhero, but you don't have to say that. Like,
could you just say Nikki Ash?
Yeah, Nikki Ash or
like it spells a word. Just say the word.
Just say the word. Yeah, that was annoying to me. One of the many annoyances from Michael Cole at that time in my life. But yeah, I mean, lots of potential here. A lot of the people from NXT who I don't know enough about. I'm sorry, guys, if I offended anybody by not talking enough about somebody certain. I just don't know enough about those people to make an educated guess or say who they are. Unfortunately, the one I didn't know that I did end up actually knowing, I shouldn't have known her for the reason I know her for. Okay, I'm sorry, but that's just like, I'm sure the other girl agreed to that spot, but I'm also sure that it was a bad idea on both parts. So,
I mean, it got people talking. For sure.
I mean, that's what okay. Anyway, other than that, though, lots of potential here. I hope they all land somewhere good. I hope they all get to keep wrestling if that's what they want to do. So, not much more I can say about it from that point.
Fair enough. What I do want to quickly touch on somebody who wasn't released, but is all but confirmed to be having their contract run out. That's Shotzi.
Who, as part of the stoner thing in her indie days as Mary Jane and all that, was like one of my favorite things. I loved her. I enjoy her gimmick on WWE, or I did while she was there actually working. I think she's got a place in AEW.
I think aesthetically, at the very least, she brings something different to the table.
Yeah,
for sure. And I think that AEW is in really good position because they can pick any of these, especially with the women. They can pick any of these women. Most of the, half of the women that got released were LGBTQIA+. Now, I know this is cynical, and I'm sorry for that, But if you're looking at it from a strategic, cynical point of view and not even looking, they could literally hire any of them and get a PR boost from it.
Yep.
I know that that's not the way that you want it to go. I know that's not what you should be hiring any individual for. But if you're looking to still kind of stick it, like Tony Khan has been very, very quiet. Very, very, very quiet. But you know that you know that fire still burns, so to speak. That pettiness will never die, especially with all the shots that they tried to take at WrestleMania week against them. They were talking about AEW more than they were talking about WrestleMania.
Yeah.
So you want to take tiny little shots at them without them being shots? You hire every single person. You hire every single person that falls on that spectrum and find a place for them and try to feature them. Because it's not enough to hire them. You have to feature them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why the hell Nyla Rose is not on my TV.
I don't either. Her social media game is A+. She should be on TV all the time.
A++.
Yeah.
Like, goodness gracious. Like, she should be on... You know what? As much as I love Nigel, have her replace Nigel every once in a while on commentary. Can you imagine?
Have her say she gave Nigel the night off. Like, do it like once every like 6 weeks or so for like 2 years. And then have Nigel come out and be like, when she says she gives me a night off, it's because she assaulted me in the back and left me in a crate. And I couldn't do anything about it.
She stole my close-up magic kit.
She shoved me in my own magic box while I was trying to do a card trick with her. And then she came out and took my place.
I know how to get other people out of there. I don't know how to get myself out of there.
Right?
I had to wait until somebody came along, read the instructions.
Somebody heard me yelling in there, thankfully.
Yeah. Like, seriously. I mean, they need to be using her. She's so entertaining. And she's such an important part of their early history, especially. Like, I don't see why they're not doing more with her more often. Because she's great.
Yeah.
She's freaking great.
She is.
I mean, I don't want to be, again, I don't want to be the cynic here, but like, why are they not trotting her out even as the token?
Yeah, right?
They're not even doing that.
No.
At least, I mean, it would be condescending if they did that. It would be kind of douchey if they did that for only that reason. But at least she'd be getting paid for being on TV.
Yeah.
You know? Like, good Lord.
Yeah.
How do you...
if anything, like, just have her come out and beat up Serpentico. She seems to want to.
Why have they not pulled the trigger on that?
I have no idea.
That's the longest running feud in AEW, and it's taken place entirely on social media.
Yeah. And it's one of the best feuds in AEW.
Yeah.
I love this.
Poor Serpentico to this day doesn't even know what he did wrong.
I know, he doesn't. At this point, because I've been watching it so long, he doesn't have to have done anything wrong. Serpentico is wrong, and he's bad, and Nyla rules.
Snake Man.
Snake Man rules. But yeah. Yeah, I hope everybody who's listening enjoyed the new format. We're gonna work on it. We're gonna see, where we go from here. But this is pretty much an AEW show here now. I feel a bit of relief, just because I have fun talking about AEW. I don't always have fun talking about WWE. So
yeah, there's a lot of baggage with WWE.
Yeah, and there's some stuff about. Don't get me wrong. Those of you who are here for Angry Aaron are gonna get Angry Aaron sometimes. Okay, it's gonna happen. Especially as the Death Rider storyline wears on me, and FTR being heel, which I do love, starts to wear on me with Stokely. You will get Angry Aaron eventually a little bit, but this is still going to be a mostly positive show because there's not a lot about AEW I don't really like, and I know that goes.
They're firing on all cylinders this year, and it's going. They're just kind of keeping their head down and they're doing the work.
Yeah, they're doing the work and it's showing. And so, yeah, I'm really enjoying it. But we hope you guys all enjoy it. For those of you who are new, because you're giving us a shot because we are just an AEW podcast now. Thanks for joining us. For all of you who have been joining us this whole time, big props to y'all. We love you. Thank you. Keep your heads up out there. It's a hard life out there, and it's a hard world out there right now. So be safe.
Oh, boy, is it ever.
Yeah. Be safe. Keep your head on a swivel. And we'll see you guys next
Deuces.
week.